fiamme.
C'è quella bocchetta proprio sopra la testa che fa venire la polmonite. C'è il nome proprio,
Sì, perché li alzate poi anzi così se vede anche gli altri li può chiamare. Io Marcella già gliel'abbiamo detta, poi il professor non ti preoccupare, facciamo le ma se tu puoi fare sì, sì, sì. No, voi li potete già mettere su. Però questi l'hanno messo su, non si vede. Sì, sì. Ma va bene, secondo te è messa così, Eugenio? No, bellissimi, non mi perderò. Sono venuto che ci tenevo. Non capisco, si deve andare su. Complimenti. Quindi poi due al centro. Tu sei qua? Li abbiamo trovati subito. Ecco, sì, sì, sì. Poi dopo però abbiamo trovati subito. Però loro mi possono mettere nella destra. Questa qui abbiamo questo combiniamo, mi sta facendo il 14 mattina, poi che sei in più che dopo sono tutti così.
Ok, quindi io sono qua.
Poi dopo vi sedete avete cose da or if you feel more comfortable you can give this push comment. Ma perché avete tolti i nomi?
Solo per farvi vedere dove siete, poi si vedono dietro i segni.
So maybe I'll stay. I will
It's up to you.
I will follow whatever.
Follow the flow.
So we have somebody here.
No, because in the other sessions then there are more participants.
So maybe for the time being we can.
Oh yeah, can be large.
Io già ne abbiamo lo stesso mezzo.
Ah sì? E siete anche della stessa addirittura.
Abbiamo fatto un lungo percorso insieme.
Sì, Riccardo? Ah, vedi. Io Riccardo lo incontro sempre come rettore, mica non sapevo qual era il settore. Parlavamo male di te. Adesso le racconto del bello di Luca.
Thank you for coming today to this event, which I am flattered by the honor to chair. I'm Professor Leandro Pecchia and the Rector Delegate for Internationalization and SDG. And so today we are here for this event, Research and Innovation on Green Transition, Biodiversity and Sustainability, which are three key areas for both University Campus Bio-Medico in Rome and CNR, which today are that this event is part of both celebration for us for the 30 years and for them for the 100 of years of life. So I don't take more than your precious time, and I leave the floor to our rector, Professor Eugenio Guglielmelli.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to all the participants today. Thank you to the President of the National Research Council, Professor Maria Chiara Carrozza, for sharing this celebration of our 30 and 100 anniversary as shared with these main research institutions in Italy. It's a real pleasure, a real honor. Also, thanks a lot to the Director General for International Affairs of the Science, Technology in Society Forum, Ms. Yuzi Arigawa, that it's really a pleasure and honor to host in Italy for this event supported by SDS Forum, which is a real opportunity for enlarging the international relationships of all the participants in these events, and even in a wider and wider perspective. It's as Ms. Arigawa will deliver to all of you in her speech, there will be a real big opportunity for those actors joining the SDS Forum, invited to the recurrent events, and also proposing activities, events, which can be more and more an opportunity to have the right critical mass of different institutions, not just universities, to define the strategic vision, even the long-term strategic by definition could be long-term. They prefigure it to have a vision of what could be the scenario of our society in the next century, next decades, so to be ready and resilient, more and more capable of taking the right challenges in the right way. And also thanks a lot to the President of the Lazio region coordination community,
President Rector of University of Tuscia, Professor Stefano Ubertini, for also the support to this event. That is another opportunity for the critical mass of our university to be a stronger and stronger team, thanks to the very, very relevant activities that President Ubertini is delivering to all of us for his role. And also, thank you very much to the rector of USP Pavia, University of Pavia, Scuola Superiore USP Pavia, Professor Riccardo Pietrobisso, who is also the delegate of the National Conference of Universities for the Technology Transfer Innovation Activities Coordination at national level, and also to Professor Paolo Dario, who is the director of the Competence Center Artes 4.0, also European Digital Innovation Hub for Restart Italy in an international context. And so all these relevant figures, other hosts and guests, other rectors of other universities, and many other relevant guests from the industrial sector who will also join our roundtable more focused on innovation. Before giving some specific message from my side, I would like to share a short video on our basic experience on training our talents. Please.
I like studying in campus because the help is always there.
UCBM has allowed me to turn my passion into my job, my career.
Studying at campus Bio-Medico University really means joining an environment of excellent medical care.
The campus Bio-Medico gives me the opportunity also to work with the most advanced technology and equipment.
And most importantly, I had the chance to follow my aspiration and fulfill my goal.
So just to give you a short message of our perspective also of having a context, a very green context, which is connected to university, but also a research hospital. And we want more and more, as you saw in the master plan, have the possibility to attract here other research entities, other industries, joint activities. And we have also a social green master plan for the more green area, which is the largest in the Lazio region, where we can contextualize activities related to agri-tech, related also to social experience, open air, which can be benefit for students, for patients, but also innovative context where to be creative and in a very sustainable way. As you know, that the theme of this event is green transition, biodiversity, sustainability, but as you can perceive, this is of course, declined in a context where wellness, well-being, health and care, also long-term care of patients, but of citizens at large, is a main priority, as well as also sustainable One Health. So the health of all the ecosystem, all biological systems or living beings is an essential priority, and we also configured our youngest department on the vertical theme of we have the Department of Sustainable Development and One Health as a very critical mass of expertise focusing on these challenges, which for sure also the discussion today, the contribution of the speakers can produce, support some open mind vision for these perspectives. It's a real pleasure to have this critical mass of research entities, universities, industries that, as I said, we want to connect more and more also at international level. And I think that it should be very clear and relevant how this opportunity to have a dialogue in a not only multidisciplinary but also multi-institutional way is essential. I remember at STS Forum many Nobel laureates participate, giving key messages. In the last event last year, I kept the message by the Nobel laureate Joseph Stiglitz about how much is important science and technologies shall contribute to the benefits, well-being of people, of society, but this must be based on a concerted public effort at all levels, which are really needed to maximize the benefits of science and technologies, but also especially to contain their harms. So be able to do the right way, keep the right way, and also conceive what is really, really possible. And for sure also training the right students, the right talents, having the possibility to invest on the right training paths. It's really essential. We really pleasure also, just in these days, it was published that we have a very, very relevant impact on placements of our students with a high level of satisfaction. More than 96% of our students are in 5 years placed for their job, on their professional career, and that's a top level in Italy, the second university in Italy. So it's a nice impact for our activities, provided that we want to be more and more relevant impact also on research and innovation. So for sure, we want also that these talents could be innovators more and more, capable of designing the new solutions for the new problems. And so we will take also for today, I share with you that we will take the best practice of STS Forum. We will, for all the contribution that will be delivered during the roundtables, we will make a summary, a short summary with a synthetic, that's the best practice we are keeping from STS Forum. So a summary of all the contributions. Thanks Prorector Sabrina Sarto, also Director of the Rome Technopole Ecosystems, also waiting for you to announce the support endorsement of the Rome Technopole, which is the innovation ecosystem of this region, led by the director of La Sapienza University and directed by the Prorector for Research, Sabrina Sarto, of La Sapienza University, the largest university in Europe, so really another important critical mass. And so for sure, all the suggestions, the key messages, the strategic vision that will be shared today in this event will be kept in mind to all of you, of course, with your consensus as far as it's possible. And we hope that this experience could be a real benefit, not only to all the participants, also those connected remotely, that are also a lot, but also to be shared maybe as a second step in the international event at the beginning of October in Kyoto for the STS Forum annual recurrent joint meeting with so many political leaders, but also business leaders and research scientists over the world, attracted from about 100 countries, so incredible. So thank you very much. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you, Eugenio, for this nice introduction. Let me invite now President Maria Chiara Carrozza, President of Consiglio Nazionale delle Ricerche.
So good afternoon, everybody. I cannot say welcome at Campus Bio-Medico, but I can, because I am also very close to Campus Bio-Medico, so I followed this expansion and the growth of Campus Bio-Medico since the foundation. So I am happy to be here and to be part of this community that we organized today for speaking and welcoming the STS Forum and the presentation of the Director General on STS, and also to give a message why we are here and why we try to organize together with the STS Forum this event. First of all, we are celebrating 30 years since foundation of the Campus Bio-Medico, then 100 years since foundation of CNR, the National Research Council. For us at CNR, this year is an important year because we are celebrating our anniversary by going across Italy in the different areas, in the different facilities, in universities, in industries, where we are invited in order to organize joint initiatives. So it is a great way of welcoming ideas, people, creativity, in order to plan our future and write another 100 years of future in research institution, which is a research performing agency, but this is also expanding and providing assistant help and tech transfer, cultural transfer to public administration and the society in general. So we have an important function in Italy, and we are also applying and managing many international agreements for research infrastructure abroad, in physics, in environmental monitoring, in life science, in many, many areas, in social sciences. And so we have an important function. We cannot perform our role without the help, the assistance, and the integration with the university system. So for us, university is the first place where we have to look in order to find students, to find young people, young leaders, emergent leaders, leaderships, and also creativity, possibility of expanding and creating science, and also solving the problem of society. So we know that we need young people, so National Research Council must stay together in university campus and work together in joint initiative, joint PhD program, joint chair. We are launching a new program of joint chairs with universities, so we hope that rectors that are here, they are interested in performing and finding some possible research areas and research themes in order to develop joint chairs. And we are in the middle of the reform plan, and our supervisory board, which is chaired by the president of CNRS in France, Antoine Petit, is recommending us to strengthen and emphasize our collaboration with universities. So it's my pleasure to emphasize that to you and share this message with you. And we have 100 years to save the planet. So we know that in the last 100 years, maybe we tried to destroy the planet. And so in the next 100 years, with Rome Technopole, with university, with companies, we have to save the planet. So this is the main message that is summarizing the reform plan and also the strategic plan of the National Research Council. So thank you very much to be here and to celebrate with us.
Thank you. And now Professor Stefano Bertini, which is rector of Università della Tuscia, but is here also as president of CRUL, which is the Conference of Regional Universities of Lazio.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm really very honored and very glad to be here and to bring the greetings of the rectors of the university in the Lazio region. Some of them are here. I also take the opportunity to thank all the delegates that came here. And honor because it is an important day for University Campus Bio-Medico and for the National Research Council. So happy birthday from all the university of the Lazio region. I think it is very important that the topics of this event are crucial for the future of our planet, as all we know. And we are also in an important turn of the life of our country, I would say of all Europe, with the opportunities of the future generation Europe. So I'm glad that Sabrina is here and she will explain the Rome Technopole project, which involves all the universities and the research centers of the Lazio region. We already have many collaborations with the CNR, many joint research projects, and we are all very much committed of increasing and improving this cooperation with the CNR. Many researchers and professors come and go to the CNR from the university, so it is our pleasure to cooperate with you. And I'm really glad to see so many young people here in the audience, and I think they are the future of our planet, and I hope they will take the opportunity to participate to meetings like this. It is very important that they cooperate one with the other, and it is important to work all together because we have targets that are very ambitious and very hard to be reached, but we need to do that, and we need to understand that green transition, biodiversity are subjects, but they need to be transversal to any subject, as we know in the Future Generation Europe is clearly stated beyond all the projects that are involved in this kind of themes. So thank you very much, and again, happy celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gargano. And Professor Bertini. Now we have a video from Orazio Schillaci, Minister of Health, which could not be with us today, but he was so kind to send an addressing video, which I hope will come now.
Buon pomeriggio, sono lieto di rivolgere il mio saluto ai partecipanti all'evento Research and Innovation on Green Transition, Biodiversity and Sustainability, che si inserisce nell'ambito delle celebrazioni per il trentennale dell'Università Campus Bio-Medico di Roma e per il centenario del Consiglio Nazionale delle Ricerche. Due istituzioni che sono un punto di riferimento nel panorama medico e della ricerca scientifica e a cui vanno le mie più sincere congratulazioni. Ringrazio per l'invito la professoressa Maria Chiara Carrozza e l'ingegnere Carlo Tosti, promotori di questo interessante incontro che vede confrontarsi i rappresentanti nazionali ed internazionali del mondo accademico, della ricerca, dell'impresa e della società civile sul rapporto fra scienza e tecnologia. La ricerca e l'innovazione sono strategiche per la transizione verde e per la biodiversità, settori nei quali l'Italia eccelle e che vedono il CNR ed il Campus Bio-Medico molto attivi, con progetti e iniziative sperimentali. Lo sono ancora di più per la sanità pubblica, non solo per garantire la sostenibilità del Servizio Sanitario Nazionale e la tutela dei principi di universalità ed uguaglianza, ma anche un'assistenza sanitaria sempre più equa e personalizzata e per superare le diseguaglianze presenti ancora oggi sul territorio nazionale. Sono obiettivi che rappresentano una priorità e per i quali il Ministero sta approfondendo il massimo impegno. Allo stesso tempo, in linea con l'approccio One Health evoluto nella Planetary Health, siamo tutti chiamati ad attuare e sollecitare politiche e comportamenti che favoriscano lo sviluppo armonico e sostenibile della natura, dell'ambiente ed il benessere della nostra comunità. Risultati che possiamo ottenere sostenendo la scienza, la ricerca e la digitalizzazione. Nell'ambito del Piano Nazionale per gli investimenti complementari al PNRR, ricordo che sono stati finanziati per oltre 21 milioni di euro 14 progetti di ricerca applicata nelle aree di intervento salute, ambiente, biodiversità, clima, che vedono coinvolte numerose regioni. Tutti i progetti sono stati avviati e riguardano anche la prevenzione dei rischi sanitari associati ai cambiamenti ambientali e socio-economici, alla sicurezza dell'uso dell'acqua, alla transizione verde. Sono sicuro che dalla giornata odierna emergeranno interessanti spunti di riflessione. Vi ringrazio e auguro a tutti una proficua giornata di lavoro.
Thank you. And now to close this panel, I would invite Dottoressa Marcella Gargano, General Director of Higher Education Institution at Ministry of University and Research in Rome.
Buon pomeriggio a tutte e tutti. Io vi porto il saluto del Ministro Bernini e sono molto onorata di essere oggi qui dopo aver partecipato all'inaugurazione dei 30 anni del campus biomedico e al centenario del CNR. Qualche settimana fa eravamo con il CNR proprio per la giornata mondiale della biodiversità al centro di Castelporziano e credo che quindi la giornata di oggi con questi panel molto interessanti sia un tassello in questo percorso che il nostro Paese nell'ambito del sistema della ricerca stia facendo. In realtà voi avete la responsabilità, voi come sistema dell'università e della ricerca e noi come istituzioni, di fare in modo che appunto l'innovazione sia davvero tale e quindi, come ci insegnate, l'innovazione è davvero tale quando serve a qualcosa, altrimenti rimane solamente una grande e bella idea. E quindi siamo qui ad ascoltarvi e a avere le risultanze del dibattito di oggi, che sarà sicuramente molto interessante per chi come poi a livello istituzionale ha la responsabilità di adottare delle politiche pubbliche. Grazie e buon lavoro.
Grazie. Okay, thank you very much for this introduction. And now it's my great honor to invite to the podium Ms. Yu Serizova, Director General for International Affairs, Science and Technology in Society Forum. Serizawa has a very interesting CV. So after having been studying in Tokyo, she moved in Europe, mainly studying in France. And over the years, she got several very interesting positions as senior advisor of the Japan in the World Health Economic Forum in Davos, and since 1999, as advisory of president of the Mori Building Company Limited, director of Japanese Committee of Honor of the Royal Academy of Arts in London, and many other, but I don't want to take all today and just leave you the floor from your interesting speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and allow me to speak in English. And actually, I am doing something that is not permitted at our forum, because we don't use PowerPoint, but you know, we say seeing is believing. So of course you will believe at the STS forum when you come to Kyoto, but already let me show you a few slides. So if you allow me, I'll sit down and continue my presentation.
Please.
From the seat, because it's a little bit long. So can I use this?
Yeah.
It works. Okay, so the STS Forum. What is the STS Forum? Science and Technology in Society Forum. We started in 2004. So first of all, let me thank all my hosts, of course, Rector Giulia Melli and President Maria Chiara Carrozza, Her Excellency, and Minister, because once Minister, you minister all your life. And congratulations for the 100 years of CNR and 30 years of UBMC. So STS Forum is celebrating our 20th annual meeting this year. So we have a shorter story than the two hosts. However, we have done quite some progress. All the photographs I will be showing to you are last year's, 2022. But last year was a little bit special in the sense that we were just recovering from the pandemic crisis. So we had 2 years in a row of virtual meetings only. We were just coming back as a face-to-face meeting, but this face-to-face meeting was still limited because Japan has had quite a large number of new cases of COVID in August and September of last year. So some people were afraid to come. And then Japan was still sort of filtering foreign visitors because we had a visa procedure plus a negative PCR in the 24 hours before boarding a plane. I mean, it was a bit restrictive. So we had a little bit less people than usual. And so I think that this year will be the real full-fledged post-COVID STS. But in any case, we are truly a global movement. Actually, it's not even a conference. We like to call ourselves a movement of world leaders to address the challenges faced by humankind by applying science and technology in a good way. So you can see this was the opening panel of last year. So you can see our Prime Minister, Kishida. Many of you might recognize also Madame Maria Gabriel, who was, now she stepped down to maybe become Prime Minister of her own country, Bulgaria, but she was the Commissioner for Science and Technology and Research at the EU Commission. Mr. Zimande is still Science and Technology Minister in South Africa, and so on and so forth. And on the far left, Mr. Tokura is the chairman of Keidanren, which is the Japanese Committee of Big Businesses, and also chairman of Sumitomo Chemical. So our initial vision, because today's title that was given to me was STS Forum's Strategic Vision on Research and Innovation for Sustainable Development, but the initial vision of Koji Omi, our founder, was that the STS Forum has to address the lights and the shadows. So it's a very Japanese sort of notion, but it's not haiku, however. And it's the positive side and the negative side of science and technology and its applications. Then also the initial vision wanted the STS to be a total global collaboration. So global in its number of countries. So it's not just about the G7 or the developed world, but we are very inclusive of the developing world. So almost 100 countries, regions, and international organizations. So Italy would count twice because Italy as a country, and then EU because you're included in EU. But anyway, and then also close collaboration between academia and research communities, industries, and government. Then long-term perspective. So the very original idea of our founder was that we shouldn't think about 20 or 30 years from now, but 100 or 500 years from now. But now, what does the STS Forum offer? So, as we said, we are totally multi-stakeholder global approach for intense discussions and also networking on a network of top leaders, but based on trust. I think that's a very important thing when you approach the science and technology, but also society. So we invite top leaders from government, from academia and research, and industries. And we transcend borders and disciplines. We'll get to that later. So STS Forum also offers the latest information on science, technology, and their impact on humankind from the long-term perspective again. And we want the speakers also to be from a very broad spectrum of areas and so that they can discuss on a very frank basis. And then we offer a clear vision and strategy for the benefit of humankind. But the takeaways from the discussions are also transformed into actions by many of the leaders who are participating, get new ideas and new notions that they bring back. And since they are leaders, they can then implement them into their own organizations or countries or policies. So a date to remember is the first Sunday in October. So this year we are the earliest as we can get. We start on the 1st of October and we can go as far as the 8th. So we move in dates, but we are consistently starting on the first Sunday of October. So it's easy to remember, and also busy people can make multiple year planning. So make sure you note first Sunday in October. So we consist of several sessions. This year we're planning for 34 of them. We have plenary sessions. These are a bit ceremonial, as you can see up there. That's our Prime Minister, Mr. Kishida, right there. We never failed to have, by the way, Japanese Prime Ministers in the past 20 years. The plenary session have top scientists, including some Nobel laureates, ministers, policymakers, and leaders of industry. And only very short remarks are allowed because we want to leave ample time for discussion, so interaction between the panelists, but also any participant can come up the stage. They are invited up the stage, and they can say their own remarks, very short also, or they can ask a question. Then the concurrent session is like that. You can see in the below photograph. So people are seated around tables. And so during those concurrent sessions also, we do identify several speakers already, but they can also speak very short initial remarks. And then at each table level, the speaker will act as a facilitator on the topic, and then everyone will participate. And then from each table, there will be a report back to the entire room. And apparently, people say that they are very inspiring because first they can sit down and discuss for 2 full hours together. They are also, some people from different areas can ask a question which could be eye-opener to any expert also. So they say that there's lots of cross-fertilization. So some important discussion topics have been introduced at the STS Forum. So the past 2 years, as I said, 2020 and 2021 were online, but of course, we discussed a lot about the global pandemic. We even had Dr. Fauci actually online, but speaking to us, and some Chinese experts as well. But AI had been already showing a little bit. AI and robotics was one of the sessions. 2022, as I said, last year was the very first one post-pandemic. And for example, one of the important areas or angle that we try to pursue at the STS Forum is into breaking silos. So last year we had this idea of breaking silos in research. So how can interdisciplinary research be effectively conducted? We also had some other kinds of sessions like financing the sustainable economy. So we had some finance experts also coming. And information authenticity and governance. That is also a very important subject that we're pursuing over several years, like trust in science, also how to combat false information on the internet, and so on and so forth. Then this year, of course, will be pretty big on AI. And that was because our leadership was visiting the United States when this open letter on AI was signed by 1,000 experts and people also from the industry as such. And so this year we will have one plenary session on the lights and shadows of AI. And then we have 3 concurrent sessions. One is AI in health, another one is AI in education, and a third one on AI, data in AI, and how transparency is necessary. Also this year we will have quantum science and technologies, quantum computing, but also quantum communication, and so on and so forth. I think biodiversity is also pursued very much here in Italy, and especially also in UCBM, but this will be also part of our program. I think there's one S too many in ecosystem. Oh, and also a W, sorry, there's some spelling mistakes. And then fusion. Fusion will be the first topic that we are also pursuing this year. So the annual meeting in Kyoto also includes the program, as I said, but also peer meetings. So within the annual meeting, we have Academy of Science presidents, Academy of Engineering presidents, also presidents of research institutes. We will have also chief executive officers and chairmen of major companies around the world, chief technology officers from companies, also CTOs, funding agencies also are represented, and heads of private foundations, and so on and so forth. So CNR president will be invited, for example, as the top leader of research institute leaders, together with RIKEN or CNRS, and so forth. We also introduced a few years ago the Young Leaders Program for young leaders of 40 years and under. So these young leaders are proposed by our member companies and also some of the key institutions that are partnering with us on this topic, and they will be sponsored by those institutions. And you can see that this is an older picture, though. You see Professor Friedman. He's still very much alert but cannot travel anymore. But MIT Nobel laureate sitting down with young leaders. So the young leaders get to sit down on the Saturday before we start with our Nobel laureates. And by the way, the Nobel laureates also love this discussion. And we already have 15 of them that are already confirmed to come in October this year. Then the next one is the networking opportunities. So we allow a lot of, it's as important, the things that are said in the sessions, but as importantly are the things that are exchanged or said in the hallways, in the meeting rooms, during the dinners, the lunches, and so on and so forth. We also bring all the delegates to Kyoto Cultural Heritage Site. So this year, the first night will be outing at Ninnaji Temple, one of major temples in Kyoto. And also we have private meeting rooms to be booked ahead of time. So last year, we were a little less than usual. We go toward 1,400, 1,500, maybe this year a bit more. Like people talk about revenge tourism, but I think this year will be revenge conference participation as well. So last year we had nearly 1,000 global leaders from over 80 countries and international organizations. We had the Prime Minister of Japan, but also 29 government ministers. We had 10 Nobel laureates, all of this in presential. So they physically came, 35 presidents of leading universities. This year, for example, we will have the Dr. Drake, who is the president of the entire University of California Systems, and he will be speaking at the session on sustainability. We had last year also Academy of Science presidents, Academy of Engineering, and so on. top business executives, but not limited to those 27 or 39, many more. These are like global corporations. And then many funding agencies, private foundations, and so forth. So these pie charts show you that, of course, East Asia is a bit overrepresented last year because, as I said, Japan was a bit larger in proportion because they didn't need any visa. But you can see that the entire world is represented. And then constituencies, again, it's not just academia, but also many of the research communities. But the research institutes are a separate category, as you can see in the left, on the right pie chart. These are, again, some of the participants. So somebody mentioned Dr. Stiglitz. So we had him last year. And it was actually the first Nobel laureate from a non-hard science sector last year. Also, Her Excellency Madame Carrozza mentioned Antoine Petit. He was with us and he is going to be with us again this year. We also have, for example, in the business sector, you have Mr. Takeshi Uchiyamada. I think you all know Prius. Mr. Uchiyamada, Dr. Uchiyamada was chairman of Toyota. Now he stepped down, but he was the inventor of the Prius. So these are some of the examples. Then over lunch, somebody asked me if we had the support from Japanese organizations. So, of course, the government, but also many different organizations, the Science Council of Japan, which is the equivalent of Academia Lincea. Of course, Japan Science and Technology Agency, which is the funding agency, and the Japanese Business Federation, Keidanren, but also many different RIKEN also. I'm sure that many of you have worked or have heard about RIKEN, and Material Science, JAXA, Aerospace Exploration Agency, and so on and so forth. So if you are interested in Japan, of course, STS Forum happens in Japan. It brings you to the world, rest of the world, but of course, Japan is very much represented. Then we also do some outreach activities around the world. Actually, I must apologize that it's only me who is presenting today because our chairman had to be in Malaysia. Yesterday, we had our first ASEAN, STS Forum ASEAN Summit since after the COVID. So every year around, not from Kyoto, but from around the world, we do different activities, including, so here are some examples. So this year in April, I start from the right, clockwise. So at the IBM Center in New York, we had the IBM and AASTS is the American Associates of the STS Forum, which is a 501c3 charitable organization to support the STS Forum. And we had a workshop on AI in health, which is then taken over this year by the main program. Also, this year in March, we had our very first face-to-face STS Forum Latin America and the Caribbean high-level conference in Mexico City. And so we are hoping to do our second one next year, also in March. Then India, we didn't have yet after COVID. So our last one was in February of 2019 in New Delhi. So as I said, yesterday we had the 7th STS Forum ASEAN Japan workshop. Then also last year in November, during the COP27 in Egypt, we had our symposium. And then May 24th, so only 3 weeks ago in Brussels, we did our 6th STS Forum European workshop together with STOA, which is the Science Technology Office of Assessment of the European Parliament. So these are some of the examples, but as you can see, we are pretty much present all around the world. other than the Kyoto annual meeting. So now, coming to our last part, is STS Forum Strategic Vision on Research and Development, Research and Innovation for Sustainable Development. So one is analysis and synthesis in science and technology. This is a new concept introduced by our new chairman, so Professor Komiyama, Hiroshi Komiyama, who used to be the president of University of Tokyo. And so it's analysis and synthesis because the issues that are to be solved in facing climate change necessitate a very complex approach because the issues are also very complex. So we need to mobilize all the knowledge and practices that are available to humankind at any point in time, and we need to update it. So this analysis and synthesis approach truly provides a good angle to give results after the research is done. The second one is breaking silos. This is also another new concept that was introduced by Chairman Komiyama. And this is really to remove all the silos between the disciplines and also between the countries and regions. So enhancing international and interdisciplinary collaboration at the global scale. And this will allow our network to also be more efficient in problem solving. Then a third one is immediate, long-term, and very long-term perspective for sustainable development. As I told you earlier, the initial vision of the STS Forum had been to offer a long-term perspective, like 100 or 500 years from now. But in order to solve this immediate problem of climate change, you also need a closer, long-term, but not as much as that 100 or 500, 10, 20 or 30 years programs for mitigation of climate change, which is, for example, much needed energy transition. But also immediate solutions are necessary to solve the immediate phenomena due to climate change. But then this is, I put RACC, this is the Regional Action for Climate Change, which is also another adjunct session that we have in Kyoto just before the annual meeting. And because whenever you have to talk about adaptation to climate change, it has to be regional because the problems are different depending on the regions. And then this overall approach will also appear throughout the program that we introduced at the STS Forum. So it's by invitation only. This year it will be October 1, 2, and 3. So the Tuesday is only half a day. So full day Sunday, full day Monday, and then half a day Tuesday. It's very compact, but very dense, I promise you. You won't get bored. You'll be very, very busy. And so for those of you who are interested, I have a few of these papers, which also allows you to have a bit more details about what I said, and also how to ask for an invitation if you're interested. So I think it's about time, and I'm ready for questions. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. So do we have any quick question? And thank you for keeping time. If we have any question from the audience. Otherwise, I'm happy to break the ice and ask you, what do you think it has been the most interesting suggestion that so far you have got from Nobel laureates in the first 20 years of activity of the STS?
Yes, our Nobel laureates are very active, but the very important question that they asked was to have a session on basic research, because they felt that more and more, and maybe particularly in the United States, when you ask for, but maybe also at the EU level, when you ask for a grant, for example, research grant, then every time they ask you, what are the objectives? What are going to be the results? And some of the scientists feel that they are very much under pressure, and writing those grant applications become really a pain, and they feel that it's very important to keep some grants for blue sky research or curiosity-driven research. And they said otherwise there won't be any more Nobel laureates if you're only asking problem solving.
Very good point. Is there any question from the audience? Oh, we have a question.
Breaking the Ice number 2.
Your name first?
Domenico Nesci. Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. I have a curiosity personally. So you mostly talk about science, and many different areas, domains are included, but then many of those domains then become part of businesses. So how do you relate science and business, if there is any, in your daily job?
In my daily job, actually, we talk a lot with our business community, because we do have members, a membership base, which includes, of course, public organizations as well, but we do have a lot of business entities that are our members. So we exchange a lot and see what are the priorities in the research program. In Japan, of course, even basic research is done by businesses. So there is a natural link already. But in our program also, we have themes that are much closely related to businesses, of course. Especially the link, for example, with the World Economic Forum is that we heard that at Davos this year, many of the top business executives said that they really needed to place the environment or the climate change factor into the center of their business, not just corporate social responsibility anymore, that it has to be at the center of their business. So we will be putting together some of those CEOs in a session as well, for example. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If there are no more questions in the interest of time, I would leave the floor to our rector, Eugenio, which I know he has a small present for you. Thank you so much. And I am sure that if you have plenty of questions, you can keep with you one of the reports that you has kindly brought here with her. And now it is my pleasure to invite to the stage Professor Maria Teresa Carrozza, which will... Maria Chiara, perdonami Maria Chiara, sono stanchissimo. Solo per questo. Which will tell us a little bit more about CNR strategic plan. Thank you. It's coming.
In the meantime, I take some. Okay. Okay. So,
she needs a new glass. Ti do un bicchiere, no.
Okay, so I have a short presentation. I know that the time is short, so I try to give the main message. And as I introduced before, why we are so concerned about the strategic plan for CNR and for research in general, because we think that science is fundamental for saving the planet. So this sentence summarizes what we are thinking. So I see that many young people and students and postdoc researchers here. So I think that in their hands we have to give some message about the future, and also to give to them the possibility of expanding and growing their leadership, because we need leaders for the future, leaders in science, taking this message and also using all resources that we have in order to develop this idea of saving the planet by developing new materials, new energy production system, new paradigm for industrial revolution, sustainability, and also a different perspective on artificial intelligence, for example, using artificial intelligence for solving problems and for modeling the picture, for example, climate change, instead of using artificial intelligence for entertaining and extracting data from people. So this is our mission. So the mission is to perform research projects in the main fields of knowledge to support the national development and innovation. So we are basically supporting public administration and government and institutions in developing innovation to boost the competitiveness and the industrial system and to promote internationalization of the research system. Indeed, the CNR was founded for that 100 years ago in the Accademia dei Lincei by Vito Volterra and colleagues. They thought that National Research Council was an instrument, an important council in order to support international university and also participation of our country in international European councils. So this CNR today, we have 88 institutes, more than 200 branch offices, different buildings and located in the main research areas. Some are in campuses, in university campuses. Some are hosting university inside. Some are in companies, industries, and also in production facilities, like in Catania, for example, where we have an important system based on cooperation between industry and CNR. And we have more than 8,500 employees that are distributed across all the system, and we have an headquarters in Rome, which is the main center for administration of everything. And we are also changing this system by distributing administration also in the territory, and this is part of our reform plan. So we have a large participation of universities, so this is a good point that we have to emphasize according to our reform plan. And this is something that Antoine Petit, which is our chair of the supervisory board, is emphasizing, and we are modeling our interaction with university according of the attitude and methodology of CNRS and also of Max Planck, which are the main institutions that are partnering us today. So we are in the G6. We are part of a system of research performing institution in Europe, and we are cooperating with CSIC in Spain and also Max Planck in Germany, for example, and CNRS in France and other institutions that are similar to us and share our mission. And so this is the distribution. We have many technicians, which are part of our assets, and also research technologists, which are who are involved and strongly involved in managing research infrastructure, because research infrastructure are growing and growing at CNR, also thanks to the recovery plan and to the investment of the recovery plan, where we are coordinating many research infrastructure in different areas, and where research technologists and also responsible and leader for this infrastructure will be some professional in research that will be the part of our future. So it is important to understand that research infrastructure are fundamental, and also that research technologies are also fundamental, because we need more competences, for example, for the oceanographic vessel or for the Arctic base. We need people really professional in keeping, maintaining, and organizing experiments in those facilities, open to university, to companies, to PMI, so to small, medium companies, and in order to develop experiments. And so this is an issue that we can discuss further, of course. And so we are covering, and we are a general institution covering many, many areas. And so our main mission is interdisciplinarity. So for us, it's not important to develop a career in a single research area. And we are now encouraging very much people going across boundaries. So working in engineering, but in an institute working in biomedical areas, or people with biomedical degree working in other areas in engineering. So this exchange of discipline is very welcome. We don't have any problem of being in a single sector as in the academic system. So we are trying also to promote this in our promotion system methodology that we are now reforming in these days. And we want to encourage people with different and creative CV. So this is something that we can change very simply, differently from the university, and we want to encourage. So we have research infrastructure. Research infrastructure are fundamental for the future of life science, of physics, of many areas. And it is correct to think that research infrastructure, by definition, are open to scientists. So we are organizing, maintaining, keeping this infrastructure, but also we have to organize open calls, scientific committees, and research technologies to prepare, organize, and put in place experiments. This is one of our main mission, and we want to share that with the university system. Like I come from physics, from high energy physics. I am a biomedical engineer, but also high energy physicist by chance, and I know very well how physics is organizing large facility, and I think this is a model that we have to apply also in many different areas like environmental monitoring, chemistry, or other areas. We are strongly collaborating with industries with an industrial PhD program, and we will discuss in our board of directors how to support this in the future. And we are performing also many services for the public administration. So for example, in meteorological forecasting, in some regions we are collaborating, or in environmental monitoring, observing, for example, earthquakes, or acting with civil protection when necessary. We have center of competence of the civil protection. So by definition, we can be called, our researchers, for example, now are in Emilia-Romagna with all our vehicles and instruments working with civil protection without any specific system. So they are directly called by the head of the civil protection. And so now we are in the age of resilience, and we have to change our way of depicting our future. So our strategic plan is based on the vision that we have to think our life in the future, and our life must be resilient. We know very well from Emilia-Romagna that our main task is to develop competences, policies, and to provide also advice to the system in order to develop this resilience. And this resilience must be based on science, on our ability to monitor, to predict, and to model. For example, in climate change, we need more modeling. We need more mathematics, more physics, more basic science, more artificial intelligence dedicated to that, because we don't have model for climate change at the local level, and we cannot predict if today, in few minutes, we will have a shower in front of the campus, because we don't have the means of doing that, and we scientists have to develop this knowledge. So this is our forward thinking. Disruptive innovation depends on fundamental research. So we are cooperating with CNRS and Max Planck in order to develop this idea that disruptive innovation, and this was also very much linked with the presentation before. So even business today and industry knows that innovation must be based on fundamental and basic research, because we need more knowledge. There are many things that we don't know, and we have to develop more creativity in order to develop also, for example, green transition. Disruptive ideas are difficult to be identified and carried up. So in this process, we have a lot of risk. So risk is part of the research endeavor, and we have to define how to develop and also to take this risk. So Italians are not very open to risk, and we have to change this culture, because without risking in research, investing in young leaders that are here, giving to them responsibility, projects, funds, research infrastructure, we will never achieve the idea of solving the problems of the planet. So scientists should be driven by curiosity, by their endeavor, by their ambition, and we have to give to students the possibility of developing their ambitions, to be competitive, to compete for funding, but also to have some chance. If they don't have chance to have a good salary, a good position, a stable position, and some funding and research infrastructure, they will never be retained in Italy. So we are basically in the middle of this objective to attract talents, but also to retain talents at CNR. This is one of the most difficult tasks, to retain talents in Italy. We have great researchers, good capabilities to protect inventions and patenting, not the same ability to go to the market. So there is something that we have to change. How to go to the market directly from research without many steps and obstacles. So we have to accelerate ideas, because we know that in Europe, I'm working very much with European Commission and discussing with that, Europe is behind on that. And we know that this is an Italian but also an European problem. How to accelerate and go to the market. And we need to empower science and culture, diversity, and strategic collaborations. These are some of the pillars. So I have many, many examples. I don't enter in detail. One is in Catania, because we love very much our colleagues at what they are doing. So here we have basic research, new materials for semiconductor and for transistors. So the basic idea is to develop new materials with high efficiency, because we know that the bottleneck in developing an electric car is related to a scientific problem, which is based on science, on material science, and we have to develop that, and we can do that in collaboration with companies. But the main problem is physics, is chemistry, is related to basic science, because if we don't provide better way of recharging and charging vehicles, for example, we will never succeed in green transition. So I have many examples, but I don't go in detail. I have only one slide, which is to me important in order to show why Arctic bases or Antarctica bases. You know, Marcella, you have been in Antarctica, and I know very much. Yes, you have been there. And so why it is important to be in polars, in the two poles, South Pole and North Pole, because some answers to the questions, to the main questions about climate change are in North and South Pole. So by studying ices, by studying volcanoes, by studying with geologists, earth scientists, biologists, and people working on chemistry, for example, we will have some main answers to the why we have this acceleration of the climate in Arctic, for example, where we have melting of ice. And so this slide is to show that fundamental research, and also fundamental research in bases, in atmospheric, and also in the mountains, anche Gianmarco. So Gianmarco Luna, who will speak later, has been in Antarctica and also in Arctic. And so we want to stimulate disruptive thinking. These are the keywords. I know that the time is short, but we go from scientific diplomacy. I think that for Italy, we have a great opportunity, which is related to scientific diplomacy, because it is our tradition, the tradition of our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to be engaged and to develop science in supporting scientific diplomacy. And now it's time to develop our skills and to support that, because in the world we need more scientific diplomacy, less stupid competition, and less shells and more open walls, because we think that we know from astrophysics, from nuclear physics, from many disciplines, that scientific diplomacy is fundamental for our future. So we are trying to cultivate that, and to be with the network of embassies open to be and to share ideas and to be present in many occasions for supporting that. I close with the National Biodiversity Future Center, which is a new center supported by the Italian Ministry of Research, mainly because there is Marcella Gargano. And I want to also thanks for this support, because the national centers of the recovery plan are fundamental for our future, because these are...
1 minute.
1 minute, perfect. And why is important this? It is important because biodiversity, we are in a hot spot of biodiversity, Mediterranean Sea, the Alps, our planet, our forest, the Alps and the mountains, and are a hot spot of this. And we will invest in scientists. So we are attracting many scientists, and we are dealing, for example, for the permissions for them to work in Italy. This is not easy, so it is something that I asked to the ministry to solve for us, because we can attract, but if we don't give the permission for staying in Italy for doing research, is very difficult. Second is open data. I read that at the STS forum we have this data and infrastructure, data and artificial intelligence, because we are going towards open data infrastructure, which is the roadmap for open science in Europe. CNR is part of this endeavor, and with many universities, University of Bologna is coordinating with us with this action, but we know very well that if we put online all data about from our research infrastructure, we will also give food for artificial intelligence to develop some intelligence which sometimes can be in contrast with the idea of developing research evidence, because open data are intended in order to provide research evidence for developing new policies, for example, for climate change or for the green transition. So we have to be careful and discuss about that. And deployment of new key enabling technologies. This is part of the instrument of the recovery plan. So the technology, for example, for the genetic screening of the species in the sea, in the lakes, in the forest, it is part of our endeavor to develop a sort of library of the genetic characteristics of the species that we are finding, and this will be something which is really our asset, the asset of Italy, of the hotspot of the biodiversity, and this will be part of the food for future scientific modeling, and also scientific modeling of biodiversity. And then we have the ambition of going to market and to develop a biodiversity gateway, which will be finally and eventually a system for entering into biodiversity for citizen science, for developing key enabling technologies, for companies to understand what is biodiversity and how to cooperate to restore biodiversity, and also for creating a new business, a new industrial revolution based on sustainability. So this is our main mission. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, President Carrozza. I think our rector has a small present for you as well. Before leaving.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And now, in the interest of time, it's my pleasure to invite to the stage the speaker of the coming session. So Professor Stefano Ubertini, Rector of Università della Tuscia and President of CRUL, Professor Paolo Visca, Prorector of Research Activities at University Roma 3, and Professor Gianmarco Luna, Director of Institute of Marine Biology, Resources and Biotechnologies at CNR, Professor Mario Russo, Head of Department of Electrical and Information Engineering at University of Studi di Cassino e del Lazio Meridionale. And this is all our panel for now. And then I will invite our three presidents of our three schools and departments, Vincenzo Di Lazzaro, Marcella Trombetta, and Loredana Zollo, to intervene during the panel at a later stage. So thank you for accepting our invitation. As I anticipated to all of you, we would like to invite you to report us now for this first round of questions what it is actually the vision of the institution that you represent in terms of research and green transition, biodiversity, and sustainability. We have 3 minutes each, and then the gong will cut us off. And please, let's start with Professor Ubertini.
We do from the table?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, it works. Okay. I think I will be fast. You already heard by me about the CRUL, so I have the opportunity to present my university, Università of Tuscia, which is located in Viterbo, a small city in the north of Rome, in a beautiful country. And we were funded 44 years ago, and the topics on which we were funding were agriculture and forestry. And since then, our university has developed academic and research programs mainly focused on sustainability, biodiversity, and now we have plenty of projects on that subjects. We think that those subjects should be transversal to any other topic, also in the socio-humanistic part. We are deeply involved in many research projects on that. We are also, being a small university, only 8,000 students with about 400 researchers and professors and 300 people of staff. We are involved in the National Biodiversity Center that was presented by Maria Chiara Carrozza in Agritech, which is, I'm not sure should be presented during this event, related to technology in agriculture for a sustainable agriculture. And in the Rome Technopole, Sabrina will explain you about that, which is the Lazio region ecosystem. And one of the 3 pillars is on ecological transition. And also in the energy partnership, we call like that. We have many projects on agriculture, forestry, marine biodiversity, engineering, especially focused on hydrogen technologies and fusion energy, and many others related to biology, biotechnology, and so on. So we think this is the future of our planet, and we think that the young people is the key to solve these problems, or at least to try to solve them. Just to give you an example, I think that we are very much frightened of artificial intelligence, but we, as the old generation, I'm sure that the young people is not frightened of that. I'm sure that they are excited. I'm excited, by the way, also as an old man. And I think that the young generation will have the intelligence to use the artificial intelligence to solve problems. This is not a problem. We need to understand that this could be a tool. We need to understand how to use it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And now the same question about the vision to Professor Visca, Prorector for Research at University of Roma 3.
Thank you. Can you hear me? No.
Yes, perfect.
You can hear me? Okay. So thank you for inviting Roma 3 to this interesting meeting. I would like to talk about which is the organizational structure of Roma 3 related to these 3 relevant topics. Simply because I think that we are universities, we must first of all learn how to behave to our students and how they should learn about these absolutely relevant themes. So I would provide at first some few informations about the organizational level of Roma 3 in these 3 areas. We are a young university. This is our 30th birthday, like Unicampus, and of course this is challenging, but this is also an opportunity because first of all we could plan our future responsibly from our birth, and this means also how can we build our university. So, for instance, we have part of the University Network for Sustainable Development, which is something quite demanding, and we are drafting an implementation plan, and we are building a sort of Roma 3 Sostenibile. Means Roma 3 Sustainable is a group of people, of scientists and also administrative people that is managing what we are calling transition. So, for instance, we have people which is involved in climate change, food and feed, education, social inclusion, mobility, waste recycling. This is simple the organization, but we also had something related to our students also. For instance, I would like to mention a very nice initiative that we had a few years ago, and was the title of the initiative was "The Message is the Bottle," because we realized that there was quite a huge consumption of plastic bottles, so we provided all students with a thermic bottle, and we provided water delivery system for very tasteful and good water quality, so we avoided plastic bottle in the university. It's like smoking for us. And the other point, which I'd like to mention, is the possibility to make agreements for students for the use of car sharing or electric bicycles at very low price. This is a good initiative in my point of view. And of course, also we provided some courses. One of them, it was called the United Nations Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. It was a very nice course, provided all students irrespective of their faculty. And another course is now on sustainability. The last 2 points which I would like to say is that we are investing a lot in becoming energetically independent. So very recently, just a few weeks ago, we had a big investment for installation of photovoltaic panels everywhere we could in our buildings, everywhere we could. So we also in parking places. And this has been a huge investment of the university. And it has been done in a sort of social way, I would say, because what was important is that we applied for a project in 2023, very recently, together with the 8 municipalities. 8 municipality means Garbatella, more around that area, to make a sort of renewable energetic community, meaning that all what will be produced by Roma 3 will be used by Roma 3, but the excess, for instance, during the weekends, will be provided to the energetic community of Garbatella. And this is, I think, is an initiative of important social value, and I think that's also a positive impact on the local energetic politics.
Very good. Thank you. So thank you for giving us together vision and pragmatic example. So I wonder if also Gianmarco Luna from CNR want to do the same and give us together, in a short, both vision and few pragmatic example.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. As our president was saying a few minutes before, at CNR we are strongly committed to green transition, biodiversity and sustainability in relation to the innovation. So being the largest public research institution of our country and the only one performing multidisciplinary research, of course our mission is to perform research in our institute to promote innovation of the national system and the internationalization of the national research system, provide technologies and solutions for a better society. In terms of innovation, at CNR we have a dedicated office with a basis in Rome and in Genoa for the valorization of all the research results and the know-how in its broadest sense, and for open innovation. So the office is organized into 3 macro areas, basically patents, business creation, such as startups and spin-off, and relation with companies. Now I would like to bring an example for marine research, being myself a director of an institute that deals with our seas and oceans, and particularly with marine biodiversity and the blue economy. So blue economy, we know, is a very promising and important sector of our society and of Europe, because it deals with fisheries, with aquaculture, with coastal tourism, with maritime transport, port activities, shipbuilding, energy production, and so on. So if we think that the global blue economy would be compared to a national economy, it would be the 7th largest economy of the world, because it is operating in the largest and the vastest ecosystem on Earth. But also we know that the blue economy has to operate in a healthy oceans. Okay, this is what we are realizing now, because healthy oceans sustain us, provide good food, provide healthy food. Healthy oceans, they provide the oxygen that we breathe, they provide good quality food. And of course, this is there is a crisis for the health of the oceans, because the effect of human activities and the climate change are devastating our oceans, our coast, the living resource that resides in the ocean. And so also, if we couple this with the threat caused by biodiversity loss, pollution, overexploitation of resources, of course, this is challenging a lot the growth of the blue economy. And so we think that the blue economy has to become sustainable. It has to reduce the environmental and climate impact. And of course, this requires a lot of research. So this is what we are doing at research to help transitioning to a sustainable blue economy. There is a lot of innovation to do. And this is what we are doing in our institute to provide research to support, for instance, I don't know, development of innovative fishing gears, help a better and safer aquaculture, and so on. And so coupling our research along with the public and the private sectors is helping a lot the transition to a sustainable blue economy. So I want to stress here to conclude that the role of research that we are performing at CNR along with the university is really increasingly important for to foster this transition.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gianmarco. And same question obviously goes to Professor Mario Russo.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation, and I bring the greetings of my rector who could not be here. I am the head of the Department of Electrical and Information Engineering, and our university is mainly focused on three big sectors: humanities, economics and laws, and engineering. And engineering is ranging from civil to industrial and ICT. Our university is strongly committed in its especially on the environment and sustainability of its choices, similarly to our colleagues, and I will not explain the details. I want to give another practical example, and I want to relate to some of the points that Mrs. Suruzawa previously explored about the importance of interdisciplinary research. Because sustainability has to be seen from all its different point of views. We are trying to implement this way, trying to help and give a policy of our university to improve multidisciplinary research. And this has some limit and especially some barriers. The first barrier we found is in practice, is also been evidenced by Mrs. Surawa, is trusting in the neighbor colleague. Okay, the next door colleague is not usually a trustable person for university academics, and we are trying to change this, changing all our structure of the laboratories in engineering. We are decomposing the existing laboratories, which are sectorial laboratories, and are used to go inside a specific topic, very, very inside specific topic. But we know that technology in its history to solve a problem has often created a larger problem, a worse problem. And so sectorial research in this context will be not working. So we are changing to intersectorial laboratories based on topics, environment, energy, which will involve different people from all different sectors. And this is a way we think will help to overcome the trustable barrier. But the other barrier we found is not in our young researchers, which are very open to this, in the evaluation system. The evaluation system is pushing for a quick response of our research, large number of citations in few years, which is very far from basic research, very far from intersectoral research, and a sectorial evaluation. it's more important to publish on a specific topic and on a specific journal rather than publishing on an open journal or multidisciplinary journal. And this is a key issue which I pose on this table, since there are a lot of people much more important than myself. And I think that is a key issue we must ask to our evaluation system. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure this will be very easy to change all of that. But, so, thank you very much also for having merged the 2 points. And now we would like to also bring our university perspective, and we will do that through the 3 deans of our 3 schools. So the first which I invite to the stage is Professor Vincenzo Di Lazzaro, which will bring the perspective of the Faculty of Medicine, both vision and few pragmatic examples. Thank you, Vincenzo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your invitation. Actually, we have a view that is part of the university that has a great mission, is direction in terms of the buildings that are planned for our university. But from the point of view of the Faculty of Medicine, is much more complex, because the usual view is that we have to save life, to spare sufferances, whatever it takes. So no one cares about the impact that the care can have on the planet, on the system in general. But recently, we started to consider this point, and how also the research, the practice of medicine can go in this direction. And one of the main areas of research is the possibility to keep patients connected with our hospital without the need of coming in person, of regularly coming in person. And we have several projects using smartphones and several apps that can give us the possibility to check our patients from a distance. So we can check parameters, vital parameters. We can check in a patient who has difficulties in walking, the time he walks every day, and also several other parameters. And this will have an impact, a consistent impact, because most of our patients are from all over the country. So if we reduce the number of visits that are needed for patients to come in the hospital, this will have a significant impact. And we have very concrete examples of this. We just concluded a study in which we used the smartphone and Apple Watch in patients who had a stroke, and in patients in whom the cause was not evident. We have, for instance, in these cases, to find the number of patients who have an arrhythmia, heart disease, that can cause a stroke that is not easy to document. And so by using these devices, we found this abnormality in a large and consistent number of patients who just send us the data through email, through the network, through internet. And so we had the possibility to check these patients and to start a new treatment. And they were followed continuously. And also, this was also very useful during COVID pandemic. The possibility to check the oxygen level in the blood is a critical point. So this was very successful. But we have also some thing that is more technological. We have several medical devices, several treatments that can be delivered in the hospital. And we are now developing some devices that can be used at home. And so are in devices that can stimulate, for instance, the brain to cure several disorders, neuropsychiatric disorders like depression and like neurodegenerative diseases. We are very interested in neurodegenerative diseases, and we have just completed a study in patients with a dramatic disorder. This is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis that brings to death in 3 years. And these patients were treated in the past. This was our approach several years ago, treated at the hospital, in the hospital. Now we have developed a system of magnetic stimulation that can be used at home by the patients. And this can slow disease progression. This is another way to have sustainable devices because they just very strong magnets that can be used at home and that are very effective for disorders. Another a very important point is the studies, all the research that is performed in animals. We know that experimental studies are needed in medicine, but we are now trying to make this approach more respectful of biodiversity. And so the idea is to have experimental in animals that are performed in more complex paradigms using artificial intelligence in order to reduce the number of experiments that are needed in animals. So we have some possibility just to have just a few animals to be studied and to use more effectively the data that can be obtained. But even more innovative can be the possibility to use cells from patients. We can just take some cells from the skin of patients and to study directly on these cells the effect of treatments and also to try to characterize these patients. So we have just completed a study on this in Parkinsonian patients. We just took a few cells from the skin. It's not painful for patients. Then we had some cultures, and in these cultures that can be differentiated from skin cells to neuronal cells, we had the possibility to characterize the effects of drugs and also characterize the specific pattern of patients. Imagine if we have the possibility to do this also in patients with cancer, just to have a target therapy that can be done in humans, but without being invasive, and just to be certain to deliver the right treatment. And the last point is the idea to be also to have attention to the pollution that is related to medical activity. This is a neglected issue, but there is a consistent pollution related to medical activity, particularly surgery. Each laparoscopic procedure can produce 700 liters of CO2. This is an impact on the planet. So just the possibility to have the monitoring of this production, the monitoring of all the waste related mainly to surgical activities, will give us the possibility to reduce the impact on our planet. And there is an ongoing project that involves all the three faculties that will pay attention to this, just monitoring in the beginning, but with the idea to have actions to reduce this impact.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And next on my list is Professor Marcella Trombetta from the Faculty of One Health Faculty.
Thank you very much for the floor. First of all, President Carrozza said we have to be disruptive in your actions. So we have been, and we are now, because we started in 2019 with our department, and the name was Science and Technology for Human and Environment. We start studying basic research concerning food science, green chemistry, plant science, stress of plant science and climate exchange. And I have been a visionary in 2010 when we decided to found a master degree in chemical engineering for the sustainable development, working in the field of green hydrogen production by solar energy, in the field of use of waste for the water depuration, and so on. So, in the month of February of this year, we decided to join our capacities and to transform our department in the Department of Science and Technology for the Sustainable Development and One Health, because we are now divided from also for the point of view of the health from our environment. And we have now 3 examples of research project at national level, but boss of this project are here. As the first of all, for example, Roma of Technopole, Professor Sarto is here for this one. All the projects are funded by the National Recovery and Resilience Plan that is working 3 axes for the Green Deal, for the project of to join the SDG of the European Union, which are energy transition, digital transition, health and biopharma. And then the agri-tech, the development of technology for sustainable agriculture, because ensuring nutrition, the safety of food, the safety of feed, the food defense, security, the setting up of circular economy for the unique use and whole use of the product from farm to fork is one of the most fundamental goals, also for the recovery of energy, the diminution of the energy use. And not the last, the biodiversity, National Biodiversity Future Center, with particular regards for the conserving, restoring, and monitoring of the sea. We, in our department, we have also deep experience concerning the environmental crime, because the origin of the last 2 centuries. As the president said before, in the first 2 centuries we destroyed the world, and now we believe in a few years to recover all the disaster that will be made in the last years. So the extraction of bioactive molecules from plants, bioactive molecules from food waste, the reuse, a very age attitude, no? You have some food that you do not eat the day after inside the eggs and the big dish. So these are our objectives now, also in agreement with the master plan, green master plan of our Campus Bio-Medico RTD, that aim to build for the first time in Europe the biggest university campus deep inside the environment, without any distinguishing between human health, environmental health, field health, and so on. So thank you very much for your attention, and I leave the floor to my colleague.
Thank you. And now, Professor Loredana Zollo, Dean of Department of Engineering and School of Engineering.
Thank you, Leandro, for the floor. Thank you very much for this invitation. I would like to focus my attention on the engineering department and essentially the technology behind the topics we are considering today. We are living and have lived a global transformation, a globalization of the society that has raised a great prosperity, but the technology is the key for this transformation, but is also caused many disasters and problems we have mentioned before. But the technology is also the key for playing a new role in society, especially in terms of well-being and healthcare of people. So the research and educational activities we are developing within the Department of Engineering is basically driven by 3 main pillars. The first one is a human-centric approach, which means that technology serves people. This means that we have to develop technology that try to meet the user needs and also the user diversity. This means that our technology is addressing healthy people as well as the patients or elderly people, as well as young people or workers and so on. And the engineering methodologies and tools can be very precious to address this huge challenge. Another important pillar we are going to apply in our research and educational activities is for sure sustainability. And for example, artificial intelligence or additive manufacturing are key technologies for producing solutions aimed to minimizing the waste or optimizing the energy expenditure, but also for developing new materials and more sustainable solutions. The third key pillar is resilience. We have mentioned it before, also Professor Carrozza has mentioned it as a keyword of our society. We have to develop technology that are able to face with changes, disasters. Also, the pandemic has shown the fragility of the technology we have used before. So we are going to develop new technologies that can be able to be flexible and adaptable to new situations, to human-made disasters, and so on. How we can apply this in research? I can represent three main research areas of the department. The first one is for sure healthcare. This is one of the main research line in our department, and for the healthcare we have to address the main issue of inclusion and global health, technologies for global health, because we have to ensure that low and middle income countries, as well as with the rich countries, can rely on the technology for fill the gap in between the shortage of clinicians, the shortage of medical device, and again digital technologies, physical technologies like such as robotics and additive manufacturing can provide new solutions for that. But we can also address the issue of the continuum of care, so moving technologies from the prevention phase up to the chronic phase, and with the home rehabilitation and assistance by means of new technology. And we are addressing these issues in some important projects at national level, for example, Fit for Medical Robotics. It is also led by CNR and Professor Carrozza, but also at the European level, we had the ODIN project. It is developing the technologies for the future, the smart hospital of the future. Another important research lines we are going to address in our department is the precision farming. Professor Trombetta has mentioned the need of paying attention to nutrition and food, but also the farming and all the process around the agriculture needs to be improved with care. And the technologies, physical and digital technology, and our key is the integration of technology based on wearable sensors, digital technologies and robotics can provide the interesting platforms for example, automating the seeding or for phenotyping or harvesting processes, but also for minimizing the energy expenditure in the agricultural processes and so on, or for monitoring the health culture. I would like only conclude my speech just reminding also the importance of the education. The World Manufacturing Forum has pointed out that there is an important skill shortage due to the evolution of technology. So, for example, the European industry require skills that our university and academy cannot provide. So we need to invest more on the education. We are trying to invest very much in education with upskilling and reskilling, and especially in terms of moving technology, moving education as fast as technology evolution. And this can be done for sure with the strict collaboration with industries and stakeholders. So another key point of our educational program is the tight interaction with the industries and stakeholders in order to create the suitable skills for our students. And also, just for my conclusion, I would also to remind that again the World Manufacturing Forum has shown that the top list of the 10 top skills in the list of skills required are only 4 are regarding the technical competencies regarding technologies, but the other 6 are all related to transversal skills. So we need to promote intercultural and interdisciplinary mindset, open mind vision of the technology and the use of technology, and also promote creativity, interdisciplinarity, and flexibility. So this is another key point of our educational programs we are going to address, also including people and experts from humanities, societal sciences, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me also thank all the speakers for keeping perfect timing. Thank you so much for your contribution. And now we have a change of table. Therefore, I invite the speaker of the Innovation Roundtable. Michele Perrino will be online from Medtronic, and Gianni Bardazzi, chairman of KT Kinetics Technology, and also adjunct professor in this university. Prego Gianni. Ezio Miguel Lago, Head of Engineering and Innovation Management at Eni Progetti. Paolo Murri, Head of Business Development and Open Innovation, at TIM. Andrea Giovannini, Cognitive Computing and Industry Solution Department, IBM Research Zurich. And Paolo Zambon, Head of Education and Research Italy, Amazon Web Services. And Roberto Menta will come a bit later, so he will join our panel as soon as he arrives. So while the table is settling, I would like to invite Riccardo Pietrabissa, which is Rector of USS Pavia and Coordinator of CROI Commission for the Research Exploitation and Technology Transfer Commission. So, Riccardo, if you want to go on the podium and report the CROI and your university, both vision and probably a few pragmatic examples on innovation regarding those three keywords that we have been working on today.
Time.
The floor is yours. 5 minutes and gone,
Okay.
you know, as all the other.
Thank you very much. Well, the problem is complex. Talking about innovation and transition and all those things, looking at the planet and the future of the planet is a very key problem that university globally are facing now. But I like to focus on very few things. The first is what is innovation when we talk about innovation, because normally in companies, in industry, innovation is a clear word, let me say. What is the innovation in the field of science, for instance, in research, in education systems? Because we like to teach innovation, but we don't like very much to be innovative in ourselves. We have some walls to break before to be really innovative. So the question is, how can we be transient in terms to face the new world? Previously, Maria Chiara Carrozza said very well that basic science, the so-called blue sky research, should be completely free. What means free? I am allowed to make research without any utility, in my opinion. The answer is yes. The responsibility is to use the results that you can have, independently of the fact that your results has been addressed at priori at some possible task. But the results normally can be very much important in the field that you do not imagine before. So responsibility is the key word. It's not to do something because someone is interested in that. You should have the responsibility to transfer every kind of results in order to promote progress and benefit of the society. So this is one point. But in innovation in this, what it really is difficult to say. I want to refer to this representation of what innovation is in this respect, because I heard a conference in which innovation has been defined in this way. Research is the transformation of money into knowledge, and innovation is the transformation of knowledge into money. So it is not possible to think about innovation without new knowledge, but it is not possible also to have new knowledge without money to make research. So this represents a system in which someone had to be the director of several actors that plan this kind of innovation. And the innovation is also the management of the system. It's not possible to think an innovative process if you want to perform the same task as before. So in this accelerating world, innovation in some area is very difficult, because it's difficult to promote this new. With regards to, and I'm concluding, with regard to the theme that is green, new, facing the planet and the future and so on. I'm rector of a very small school, and so we can try. We can perform experiments on a new way to do education and to make research. And we try to put together students coming from very different background, from philosophy to engineer to law and biology, put together in the class and teaching
teaching courses that can think to the students differently from the specific disciplines. So it's not create new disciplines. It's not that. The disciplines exist because as methods, background. But if I try to think at the problem, not only with my own background, but sharing with others, this can be an innovative way to face complex problem, big problem. So this is a challenge. I don't know exactly if it works, how long is the training in this way, but it's very important because now I think that many of us do a different work with respect to they thought before. So changing is important, changing is surviving. So I think that now also research should think changing in some way their goal, maintaining freedom.
Thank you. Thank you for your very inspirational words. And now I can call to the podium Professor Sabrina Sarto, Scientific Director of Rome Technopole Foundation and Prorector for Research at University La Sapienza di Roma.
Thank you. I wish first to thank Rector Gurriamelli and President Carrozza for having invited us in this workshop. I bring the greetings from our rector, Professor Polimeni. Rome Technopole is a new project that has been financed within PNRR Mission 4 and is the regional ecosystem for innovation that brings together 5 state universities together with University of Campus Bio-Medico and Lewis University, which are the largest university in our territory, in our city, private university, together with the major 4 National Research Center, CNR, INFN, ENEA, and DSS, the biggest, largest companies operating in 3 strategic areas of interest of development for our region, which are energy transition first, therefore green transition, digital transition, health, and biopharma. And therefore, within this frame, we have the participation of large companies like Leonardo, Thales, MBDA, and Eni for energy, but also Acea, and for the health, Catalent, but also small and medium enterprises like Takis, and the most important, the participation of Unindustria, which is the local association of industries in our region. Together, for instance, in the field of health, Confindustria for medical devices, which is another important actor. So within this ecosystem, we have identified some specific topic around which the innovation ecosystem has been activated. These projects are called flagship projects and are led by industries. And specifically within the topic of green transition and energy transition and sustainability, we have 3 flagship projects going on. The first one is related to digital transition and energy transition in the research for new green sources for energy, which is led by Eni, and have the participation of most partners of Rome Technopole. The second flagship project focusing on this topic is led by COIMA, and this is focused on digital transition, energy transition in urban regeneration and construction. And within this project, we are developing the new concept and the new design of the headquarters of Rome Technopole that will be located in an area that needs really some regeneration, which is located in Pietralata. And together with it. We are developing a new concept, a new technology to propose a new smart mobility, a green mobility plan for that area that will see a strong concentration of new labs and innovation activities. And the third topic, third flagship project, which is led by Mary Tecnimont, is finalized to investigate, to develop digital transition in recycling of waste through innovative approach that allow full decarbonization and high efficiency. Within this project, the role of the industry is to promote the challenge that partners, universities, research center, and the other partners of Rome Technopole have to face in order to develop new technologies, new knowledge to share. And to use in order to push up technology readiness level, in order to allow the growth of the innovation ecosystem of our territory. So I think that this project, which is open to the participation of other partners, we have currently 7 new associate partners, 37 stakeholders, and the scope is to include and to hire within our innovation ecosystem through also cascade open call, so financing collaborative project to external partner to the Rome Technopole to bring together new expertise, new ideas, new researcher to grow within this topic and within this research line. So thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice.
Thank you so much, Professor Sarto. And now it's my pleasure to invite Professor Paolo Dario, Scientific Coordinator of the European Digital Innovation Hub Artes 5.0 Restart Italy, but also laureate in engineering honoris causa here at campus. It's our honor.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, I was thinking a lot after your presentations, and the key point about innovation is that you need innovators, okay? Right. And this is obvious. It's obvious, but it's not so clear. For example, in some countries, this is a problem: how to educate real innovators, And actually, I believe our education system. There was a discussion. Loredana pointed out this. I think I'm very proud about our education system. Okay? So, for example, Maria Chiara and Eugenio were my student. And so you can imagine how proud I am of both of them. And there are many others. So it means that here we educate some of the best talents in the world. And the proof is very simple. When I never had one single protest, people say, you send me a unable person, a really low quality person. So we educate real topic scientists and also talents of any kind. So creative, interdisciplinary, because this is our culture. So I like to make a point in favor of what we are doing. And talking about very briefly tools that could help in transferring this into reality. Because the point is this, how can we exploit those talents in different ways? I fully agree that we need basic research. In fact, we need basic research. Free, curiosity-driven. But then the point is how we take this knowledge and skills and we transfer into value. That is what Riccardo pointed out, because that's the problem of Italy. We generate lots of talents, but then we are not able, in many cases, not only we are good, we are the seventh industrial country in the world. Never forget it. And so the point is, how can we do that? And I'm just dealing with one case, Industry 4.0. We are in the middle of Industry 4.0, the revolution of cyber physical systems, Internet of Things, network, and so on. And we, for example, among our skills is robotics and AI. Robots, we have built robots. You know, Europe, Italy is a country where we can build real machines. Maybe we are not so good in AI. We can discuss about that. But for sure, we are very good in mechatronics. We are good in fashion. We are good in cooking. So we can use very well our hands in a way that is fantastic. And robots, in fact, can be companions. Many people have forgotten what happened in 2010. Actually, robots have saved already the planet. We're talking about sustainability and environment, but people have a very short memory. In 2010, there was a leak in the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, and the robot saved, just fixed the leaking valve, saving the planet already. So if you say, are robots able to do this thing? Yes. Now the point is, how is this evolving? You know, automation, but also work, because I believe this is really the key issue. Part of this is how this environment is going to change. And so what we have done is to participate in what has been defined probably the most important industrial politics initiative that this country has launched, that is Industry 4.0. Once again, short memory, we don't remember this, but actually it's been a major, and is still a major action. So ARTES 4.0 published, call for proposal. We received a lot. There are 8 competence centers in Industry 4.0, and we have been able to receive 330 proposals from industry to fund 26. And INAIL, you know, the Italian agency for insurance on work and accidental work, has taken this model to launch a call oriented to help to preserve, to innovation project to health and safety conditions. And this is going on. But the system, of course, the world certainly doesn't stop, but we are already in Industry 5.0. That has been anticipated, by the way, by Europe, which published a document in 2021 discussing the role of fifth industrial revolution, that is about, among different things, sustainable development. You know, this is the list. And so we have launched a new European Digital Innovation Hub that is called ARTES 5.0. that is dealing with this new economy challenge. This is what Maria Chiara also pointed out. So the human person and environment at the center. This is the infrastructure that, of course, is very interdisciplinary, is very collaborative, because we are masters of that. Can you imagine such a project in the USA? No, I can tell you. So we should be also proud of what Europe is able to do by putting together the best talents in the country and abroad. For example, we have decided, this is a political choice, by the way, to focus on the Mediterranean Sea, because this is Mare Nostrum. This is really where we operate, and there are lots of countries who are there. The ocean is our common opportunity and problem, but there are also very important issues about, again, sustainable development. So you see here many projects using robotics, AI, mechatronics, and so on for sustainable development. And I'm just closing by focusing on the role of work, because sustainability is certainly environmental, but it's also social. One big issue we are facing is about work, what we call meaningful work. We know this great resignation, people leaving jobs. So what can we do? And in a very interdisciplinary manner, we are collaborating with social and human scientists to redesign or to address the issue of the working place in general, also services for really addressing or reducing and really putting not only the environment as its priority, but also the human person in this. So how can we redesign the world of work so that our talents could remain and could find their own satisfaction, but also providing value? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Paolo Dario, and I will invite the three speakers to help me moderating this session. So allow me now to ask a quick round of questions to our speakers, and there should be Michele Perrino, Vice President of Western Europe Enterprise Account and Services of Medtronic. Should be online. Is already there. Thank you, Michele, for joining us remotely. Very much appreciated. Michele, let me start with you. In the interest of time, I will merge the two questions that I anticipated to all our panel members. So if you could kindly start telling us what it is Medtronic vision about the three keywords that we'll be discussing since this morning: sustainability, biodiversity, and green transition, and then give us few pragmatic examples of what you are doing or what you are planning to do in the present or immediate future. The floor is yours, Michele.
Thank you, and again, good afternoon. Sorry for not being there. I mean, but it's really a pleasure to join this kind of conference. I would say finally the topic of sustainability is becoming something important, not just in Italy, but in every country where we are. I mean, we see more and more of discussion around these things. But talk about Medtronic. First of all, let me introduce. I mean, I don't know how many people know what Medtronic is. We are a leading company in medical device. At least this is what we have done for the last 60 years. But something important happened 10 years ago. I would probably start sharing in my. I have a couple of slides. I can have my presentation. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
Because Medtronic has been the company. Now we are treating more than 85 chronic diseases, and we have been quite known in our industry for the capacity to really develop technologies. We have done it in the cardiovascular space. We invented the first implanted defibrillator and pacemaker, and then we moved to diabetes, neuroscience, and many surgical conditions. That's why we have been very good in developing this kind of technology. But 10 years ago, we realized, looking at our mission, as you can see here, that our commitment, our founder, when he wrote the mission of the company, that by the way never changed, is something very unique in a company. We never change any word. He, at the beginning, when we started this company, he said that our commitment is not to patient, is to the human welfare. That's why we realized that as a leading company, the contribution that we should have given to the community is much more than just treating patients and chronic conditions. That's the reason why, again, there has been, probably 10 years ago, and a big change, internal change first. We have invested a lot, attention, resources, and we have changed the structure in order to really expand our responsibility beyond technology. Looking the contribution that a company like us should be given to community, to society, to environment, to technology, but to innovation, the broader definition of innovation. And this has something that is now the top priority, has been the top priority in the last 10 years, will remain the top priority for the future, where we are, again, really putting all our investment. If this is something that we realized was coming from our mission, but at the same time, again, the last 10 years, we have seen also in the different countries in Western Europe. I can look at Western Europe, given the fact that I'm in responsible of Medtronic in this region. Also in the countries, we have seen more and more national government that wanted to have relationship with the supplier. They were able to, again, partner with them in a broader let's say, opportunity or challenges that they are facing. They were really looking for long-term, trusted partnership with a sustainable provider, and not just pharma or technology provider. That's the reason why, combining these two, there was an internal need and an external demand. We realized that where we should put our attention and our money. Now, without forgetting the contribution that we give to community, to society, I want to focus here, put in this slide, the three main topics, the three main goals that we have today. When we look at when Medtronic needs to explain what sustainability means for them, we are looking, first of all, of course, patient. Every year, we want to have at least 85 million people that 1 every 2 seconds that get access to our technology, which means we improve and save lives. The second is, of course, the big topic of inclusion and diversity. And the third one that is more specific to the conference of today, what you are discussing here, so the kind of contribution that we can give to the environmental sustainability. Here you can see the two big obligations that we have taken. We are part of the 15% of the healthcare industry that has decided to go for a net zero emission by FY 45. And we are also committing to reduce, 50% our green gas emission by FY 25. Now, what that means, again, looking more at the environment, we are mainly, let's say, driven three initiative. One is to reduce our footprint. We have more than 75 manufacturing plants around the world. We are trying to see how and if we can optimize this manufacturing capability, because that can drive, of course, reduction in emission and energy, and all the things are very negative to the environment. We are also reconsidering the way how we develop technology. We are not developing technology based on the historical criteria of minimal invasive, technology that is smaller, safer, and cost. We are also looking now at technology that can be also contributed to a more sustainable environment. I will give you some example for that. And of course, we are also now exploring that recycling, because most of the technology we sell is single use, and most of these products are not recycled today. That's why they go to the environment in many different ways. That's why looking at these three aspects, we believe we can, in the medium term, give a small contribution to that commitment that we have taken. What we have learned so far that when, as an industry, you want to have a sustainable goal, you have to define clear target and KPIs, which was something that we didn't have in the past. There was just an ambition, but this was not, there were not KPIs and behind, but there was even not a structural governance and coordination in the company to do that. But more importantly, you need to be able to partner with the government and with the regulators, of course, on sustainable roadmap for change. There are things that we have to co-create together. Because again, we are just at the beginning of this journey, and we really need to partner together in order to identify what are the correct roadmap to get there. And of course, this means also that we need to move from a relationship of client to supplier to connect with other stakeholders, not just hospitals that have been our main clients so far. We need to connect with universities, with the researcher, with all the other capabilities that can really contribute to improve that ambition that we have. Because there is a lot. If we, as an industry, we want to be really sustainable, this has a huge impact in the way how we are structured, in the way how we are investing money, the way how we focus and we prioritize things. That's why it's, of course, we need an external help to go in that path. Now, you asked me some examples. Again, I'll probably take a couple of those. This is, for example, for the pump that we have in diabetes for T1 patient, for insulin-dependent patient in diabetes. The simple fact that we have extended the use of the tubing set that is used for this kind of technology can create an important reduction in terms of wasting for the system. The same is, I've seen some people talk about the surgery. The Signia is a technology we have used, is a stapler that is used in every surgery that is performed in the hospital. The fact that we extend the usage of this product, you can see what can be the implication of 66% reduction in clinical waste, 90% less material impact to produce. Of course, the fact that you can use the same product in almost 300 times. I mean, you can imagine, I mean, how many procedures every day are performed in the operating rooms, and you can clearly, understand the huge impact. But these are small examples for product that we have, small changes, not big changes that we can apply that can really drive a huge impact for the environment. Of course, we are also looking now, I mean, the packaging. Every single product we ship to hospitals have, huge boxes and of course, and different packaging. We are looking into that because, again, our target is to dramatically reduce not just the material that we use, but also the way how we ship product, because that is something very important. Another example, this is just for medtech, you can extend that also to the pharma. I mean, the instruction for use. In every box that we ship, there is an instruction for use. No one is reading that, no one. But this is material that goes into the environment. And of course, now, I mean, we are looking a different other way to have instruction for use, maybe not on paper, but more digital, and because this is something that we have to do anyway. Okay, I can go ahead with other example, but again, there are these are I wanted to show just pragmatic, small example to see how we can easily reduce and increase our commitment to that sustainable ambition that we have with a simple modification. Of course, we are at the beginning of the journey because having an industry like Medtronic, a medtech company that can really become sustainable, means that you need to reconsider the entire supply chain. You need to reconsider the entire manufacturing. This is not something that you do in 1 year. This is something you do in multiple years that require partnership and requires also external funding. This cannot be just funded by the company. And that's the reason why we are more and more partnering with university. Campus is one of those. We are partnering in one of the projects in a European Commission initiative in order to really co-create together and offer a project that can really combine the outcome, better outcome, with more sustainable implication to that kind of offering and intervention. But again, I hope, I will stop here and give the time, for other people also.
Thank you, Michele. It's been very, very interesting. And now let me invite Gianni Bardazzi to give us what it is the vision and few examples on this point for Marie Technomont Group. Gianni?
Thank you very much, and I'm honored to be here. The first takeaway that I have after a couple of hours that we are discussing is that the knowledge sharing will support our future. I think that it's really something good that you organize, because to talk, to share, I think it's really, really fundamental for us. I'm representing Maire Technomont. Just a few words about who we are. We are an Italian listed company, but we are present in 45 countries in the world. And we are more or less 9,000 people. Most of them have spread it out of Italy, but 2,000 more or less are Italians. And this is very important, so we are proud to bring our tricolor flag around the world. The question is very clear, and I start mentioning transition. Transition is a very long way. I think it's not possible. We think it's not possible to have this kind of change in a very short time. So just to approach the first part of your question, Maire Technomont decided to reshape his own, let's say, organizational chart, in the sense that we are usually a technology-driven E&C, engineering and contractor. But what the market, of course, being a listed company, we have to look what the market is requiring. What the market is requiring is that something looking more and more to the technology. And in this sense, we launched in the last March a new shape of the company that is mainly focused on sustainable technology solution let's say, in a way and the other, we will continue supporting this new part of the organization with our former DNA. That it's in a way also have some distinguished colleagues. Just for instance, Mr. Natta, Nobel for the chemist in the past, was, let's say, one of our important uncle. So we have also this honor to bring out and to going on with those kind of important men and women in our company. As I was saying, looking to the market, we understood that technology is important. So also to mix the strategy to this clear and practical sample, while before, or maybe what we are doing till now, is to construct, to build up a very complex project around the world, utilizing mainly other technology of other companies, so being, let's say, approved contractor. Now we are more and more utilizing and start to develop our own technology, especially considering that we would like to change our DNA in the so-called green chemistry. So in this sense, we establish also a new company that is NESChem, the next generation of the chemists, looking to those areas that are really important for what we discuss and what we are discussing today. Was mentioned the waste to. So waste to X is one of the practical, very important, let's say, areas of our business. So in this sense, starting from Japanese technologies, so we adapt themselves to the west part of the world. In a way, we upgrade them, so we are able now to have a new feedstock. Instead to use fossil fuel, we are able to transform a problem, that it's the waste, in the possibility to create synthetic gas that can be used for hydrogen of for other, let's say, topics. This means that starting from a big problem that especially Italy has, as you know, any tons of waste cost very much, and typically we are not able to accept, let's say, what in other countries in Europe are accepting in terms of valorization of the waste. This is good, really a good jolly, if I may, good joker to support this transition. But I would like also to look to what is important in terms of, let's say, cultural environment. Most of you, with a very important expertise that you have, mentioned the importance to attract or to maintain our talents, also emphasizing the fact that, generally speaking, we are good, in brackets, producer of good talents. And in this sense, the relation that in the past, but we are establishing more and more with the university, and I think it's very important. I'm the sample. I have to thank this institution, because it's 12 years that I'm having the possibility to teach in this university, but I also think that our company, in a way, gave some added value to the university itself. We are exporting this kind of model in those countries that I mentioned before, because to be sustainable is also, just for instance, reduce CO2, reduce the number of travels. So having the possibility to envelop the so-called software part of the company, having this kind of relation with also other university, attracting the young talent that are maybe in Africa, working with our talent, is another way to be sustainable. On the other part, as I was saying this morning in the warm-up of this event, it's also good to say that maybe you are training those talent, and 10 years after, you have them as a counterpart of your top client. So it's honestly being, let's say, in the business, also a way to added value. Just to conclude, nice to have this intuition on the risk. I recently be appointed also as a group risk in the company, and I was thinking that in a way we have to put a fish, I mean, give some freedom to somebody in a company as we are in order to maybe discover some good, I used to say raw diamonds. So I will take care about also this noble mention in my future plans for the risk management. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate what we are sharing today all together.
Thank you, Gianni. And now the floor to Ezio Engineer Lago from Meni. The floor is yours, Ezio.
Yes, good afternoon, and thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the invitation. Well, regarding our vision, the first question that has been raised, let's say, considering the very complex scenario that we have currently from the energy point of view, as E&I, we are aiming to meet the essential pillars of the energy trilemma. The energy trilemma considers, absolutely environmental complexity, okay, sustainability itself, the energy security, and the affordability. So based on this, we have put in place a strategic approach that take into consideration at the center the innovation, okay, the property and breakthrough technologies that need to be put in place together with new business models and a stakeholder alliance. So consider that innovation is at the center, at the heart of the company. We have developed then in synergy, taking into consideration the internal competencies from the development and research point of view, together with engineering innovation, and having collaboration, strategic collaboration, from the academic point of view with the universities, as well with the research centers as CNR. So our portfolio considers a range between environmental projects that consider specifically renewable and new energies, okay? We are considering as well the carbon capture and sequestration projects, and as a conclusion, let's say, we are considering as well the circular and byproducts. Any decarbonization path toward to the net zero target is 2050, okay? So we are working on that area in order to achieve our carbon neutrality by 2050, and all the portfolio of projects that we are developing as part of it. Sustainability and biodiversity is a strategic part of our company, and all the sanction of projects are taking into consideration the evaluation and the analysis of these specific activities. Having into consideration one specific project, okay, I don't want to talk specifically for one project, but a scope of application. The carbon capture and sequestration project, which is part of our biodecarbonization products, are part of our activities that consider specifically so the carbon capture and sequestration project consider the following. Specifically is we are taking into consideration, we are taking into consideration environmental analysis that we are doing with those specific technologies developed at home, inside, in-house, okay? These technologies are specifically considering the Clean Sea, which is a vehicle, subsea autonomous vehicle that are adapted with specific environmental sensors, let's say to verify CO2, to verify methane contents, to verify O2 contents, to verify temperatures, seawater, and we can manage around the area, let's say by square meters or by along the pipelines, whatever we can find from this point of view and capture these activities in order to make it possible in the analysis that we need to plan for this type of project. In addition to this, we are as well the lander, which is a static environmental station. Is a static one that have a autonomy of 8 months, is a battery-powered unit, and can monitor continuously the environmental activities or the environmental parameters, let's say CO2, methane, and all that activities inside the project for our proper evaluation. So this is part of the activities of the specific project we are considering.
Thank you so much. Very interesting. And we are writing together some of those projects for bringing this technology in hospital, as Vincenzo was mentioning before. Thank you so much. And now the floor to Paolo Murri, once again from team point of view, vision, and one example of projects. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, I believe team does have something to do with innovation and sustainability, not so much on biodiversity, honestly. Being a telco operator, I think the number one role is providing services, digital services to consumers and organizations that help digital transformation. So this is a positive impact on sustainability, which has a cost, of course, because we're consuming energy. So that use of good technology that helps the digital transition has an impact. We are the second largest energy consumer in the country after Ferrovie dello Stato. And so we must and we are taking responsibility for that. How? We have an ESG plan. So ESG goes beyond environmental, of course, as you surely know, and which sets goals in environmental, social, and governance domains, publish them, so it's a public document which is reported against quarterly and yearly on a sustainability report. Those goals, part of this, the most important one, are included in the incentive plans of the management, which means that not only the management is measured against the results, the economic results as historically happened, but also against how good we are on the environment. And just to mention a few, and similar to the ones we heard, it's pretty aggressive targets, because we target to have 100% of renewable energy by 2025, to be carbon neutral by 2030, and to be net zero by 2040. So in advance of the goals that are set at the EU level. That, of course, happens because we have a very large plan. But what is interesting, actually, today I'm in business development and innovation, but for the 4 years before, I've been for 4 years in investor relations, and I've lived in directly the shift of importance of sustainability as seen from the financial institutions. We as a publicly listed company are tracked. Equity analysts look at our accounts and regularly ask ourselves about results. And in the last 5 to 6 years, this has shifted. I would say from 100% economic measurement to our 70%, and the 30 is on ESG metrics. It's a complicated matter because there's a lot to do there in terms of standardization of metrics, but it's more and more important, which means, which is good news for the people, because the big corporates have an objective to do the green transition. The other good side of the story is the services we provide. I mean, digital transformation for the end user, I think all of you have measured it, what it means to be, to not travel. We, as employees of team, are traveling much, much less. Why? Because we implemented smart working, because we're using video conference in any meeting we're doing. And the companies are transitioning their system to cloud. Cloud means less power consumption, means much more efficiency, means that you can leverage the digitalization on data to use data with artificial intelligence, which again, for sure has a good side, which is productivity. And productivity means a lower impact on the environment. And today at lunch, I was challenged by you actually on the fact that an email absorbs energy. And I think I will elaborate.
7 grams of CO2.
Exactly.
An email that we are sending.
I am elaborating that because
Please,
actually
because you have the power to do.
You all, I mean, whoever of you has kids, I'm sure that the sentence, please switch off the light, has been said in your home. And it's because everyone is aware that by switching off the light, you save money and you save the environment. Who has ever said, please put your video in low resolution? No one. But actually, a high resolution video has higher consumption than a low resolution video, has a higher impact on our infrastructure. So it's energy offensive, but no one knows. So I'll find a way to make people aware of that, and I think it's
about the teenagers.
Absolutely, they are.
Look into the video that you mentioned before in the warm-up.
So was I quick enough?
Sorry.
Perfectly on time. No, but I like this conversation, and we'll come back on this later. Thank you, Paolo. Thank you, Paolo. And now Andrea Giovannini from IBM Zurich. Again, the same questions for you.
Yes.
Vision and example.
Sure. So first of all, thank you for having invited us. And I am bringing the greetings from my director, Alessandro Curioni, who couldn't be here. So by preparing for this short 5 minutes, I was looking for some facts about IBM. So I will read few of them. So IBM is committed to sustainability and has been at the forefront of addressing environmental concerns for over 40 years, which earned then recognition, and we are seen as a prominent environmental leader. We have set ambitious goals to reduce our carbon footprint and increase the use of renewable energy. And in 2019, IBM announced its goal to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2030. So we plan to do it by a combination of energy conservation measures, increased energy efficiency, and sourcing renewable energy for our operations. So we are investing in renewable energy projects like in wind and solar power, and we support sustainability objectives. And what is exciting in IBM is not only the part where we try to reduce the consumption, but we also do actively research in order to develop some technology that promote sustainability. And in example here are development of advanced energy efficient computing systems, smart grid technologies, and a solution for water management and conservation. It's just to mention 3. IBM is also committed to promoting sustainable practices throughout its supply chain. That means we also make sure that our suppliers are adhering at some best practices in terms of sustainability. An interesting example is what happened in 1964 and was about the polychlorinated biphenyls. So IBM at the time was not so much involved, or was still more involved in hardware as it is now, and decided to completely remove these PCBs from all our products by 1978, and managed to do so. And it's just in 1979 that the Environmental Protection Agency in the United States banned the use of the PCBs. So to close this first small introduction, IBM demonstrated and continue to demonstrate the commitment to sustainability. We set ambitious goals, we invest in renewable energy, we conduct research on sustainable technologies, and we promote responsible practices in our supply chain. Now, I give two examples, 2.5 maybe. The first one is about one of our last release of the mainframe, the IBM Z16. I was reading on some statistics, and this is based on an IBM Telum processor, and it was made in order to optimize the energy consumption, so to reduce the energy consumption really, to optimize the heating and cooling systems. And this led to, by comparing the same Linux workload with one of these machines to a comparable x86 server with similar conditions and location, we reduced the power consumption by 75%. So it is designed to really also help clients to kind of achieve sustainability goals. Another two small examples are a collaboration we have with NASA. So with NASA, we are using AI foundation models. So these foundation models are very large AI models, neural networks with a large number of parameters. And we use them by analyzing petabytes of text and remote sensing data to make it easier to build AI applications tailored to specific questions and tasks. And I have an example. How will aerosols impact climate change? So this is a kind of example we expect to be able to answer through that project. A second project, also in collaboration with NASA, is to build a foundation model to make it easier to develop AI applications to analyze satellite data at scale. So here the application is tracking deforestation, coordinating responses to natural disasters, and monitoring mining sites. And last point is also connected to this collaboration with NASA. This is the year of open science organized by NASA. And through these events that will be held in 2023, we also plan to promote data and AI model sharing to accelerate the scientific discovery. So also this sharing of both models but also data is important, is an important sustainability aspect that we are addressing.
Thank you so much. Not to mention the bootcamp. The bootcamp, which is an important partnership among IBM and other companies and Campus Bio-Medico. We are organizing this intensive training course on AI and IoT for sustainable development goals. So this will happen in August in Cambridge, and IBM is one of our partners. Thank you for that. Okay, thank you very much for also keeping the time. So it's my great pleasure now to invite Paolo Zambon from Amazon to bring his perspective on those 2 points, vision and examples.
So thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for the very inspirational contents and idea. It's been really interesting. Sustainability is definitely a strategic priority for Amazon. For Amazon and AWS, I'm representing AWS, the cloud division of Amazon, and I'm in charge of the education and research system in Italy. So it's a strategic priority, and innovation is crucial to enable to achieve those goals. Let me provide you a few examples. Amazon has been starting in 2019, co-founding with Global Optimism, the Climate Pledge, an organization with a commitment to drive net zero carbon emission by 2040, so 10 years ahead of the Paris Agreement, and influencing other organizations in doing this. And to date, there are 400 organizations across 36 countries that have been joining this pledge. Amazon, as part of with this commitment, has been trying to accelerate even more, and it's going to be it's going to power 100% its operation globally with 100% of renewable energy by 2025, 5 years ahead of the initial goal that was 2030. And when it comes to AWS, managing the cloud infrastructure, here also sustainability and efficiency have been at the center of design of everything. No? It's embedded in everything, from the way we source energy to the way we cool our data centers, to the innovative way we design the servers, or even how we optimize the usage through machine learning, algorithms, through IoT sensors, and everything, all this allows to reduce the amount of consumption when users, in your case, universities, scientists, researchers, use the cloud to run their missions. And an independent study from 451 research found that the cloud, AWS cloud, is 5 times more efficient than the average enterprise data center in Europe. So innovation said it's important, and one example of how we invest in this to reduce the impact is also in an investment that AWS does in also in their own processors. So we have instances powered by our Graviton3 processor, AM processor. They are up to 60% more efficient compared to similar processor of the same power, and these advantages are then transferred to the users. And coming to examples, so we are not just thinking in terms of the infrastructure itself, but we are also thinking to our community, to the community around us, to our community of users. And here we also provide some tools. For example, we have the carbon footprint tool. That is a tool that any user can use to measure the impact of their workload in the cloud, and or to predict future impact. And the user can also, or scientists can use this and export this data into their own sustainable report. So this is also driving a different way of thinking, no? Because if you are aware of what you produce with your action, you can change your behavior in future. In addition to this, there are best practices. No, you said turning off the light. We have been growing with these values from our families, no? And but the same applies to the cloud, to your data center. Why running something that you are not using? So, and there are many other tricks, I would say best practices. So we accompany also organization with these best practices. We have methodologies, and just close now. Methodologies that allow also not just to run secure environment or optimization, but also a pillar on sustainability. last point I wanted to say is that we also have open data. You've been mentioning open data. We have a data set of large data set in satellite imagery, weather forecast, ocean temperatures data that can be used by scientists for free, no, to support their mission. And talking about water, I want to close saying that AWS is also committed to be water positive by 2030. That means we will be returning to the community more clean water than the one we use today. So sustainability is a priority, a responsibility for all of us, and we are happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Paolo. And last but not least, we have Roberto Menta from Ferrero Group, which joined us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, let me thank the magnificent rector, Professor Guglielmetti, and my dear friend Laura De Gara that give me the honor to invite me to such important events. Well, I'm talking from an industrial side that is not something like hard machine equipment. I talk about Nutella.
Which is energy.
Yes. Do you want that we change Nutella? That's the first question. No, never ever. But let me say, we are deeply convinced that in our activity, there will be no more chance to business as usual. So 6 years ago, the name of my department was changed. It was Department of Nutrition. It became Department of Nutrition and Sustainability. So, because sometimes the symbol are very important, I got this change of name, not because of the name, but because of something that is changing. What is changing? First of all, we try to look, everyone knows that we are involved in palm oil, okay? Well, we establish a lot of initiative and research on palm oil. First of all, let me say, no one perhaps knows how the fruit is collected. You have to imagine a farmer working in the plantation, and when the fruit fall down, if they are orange dark, it's time to collect fruit. Very modern approach. Now we change the approach. We have flying objects, drones, not coming from Iran or from Ukraine or from other parts. They check the color of the fruit and they say it's okay or this is not okay. So we reduce the waste from one side. We have established another tool, very concrete one. Anytime that we buy an ingredient, we have in my group, all the person are really creative. So the project was called Indiana Jones. But for any single ingredient, we now have a system in place that is able to evaluate if, in comparison with the same ingredient coming from other parties, more or less sustainable. And therefore, we choose and select ingredient with minor impact on the environment. We were the first in the industrial sector of food to stop the use of industrial trans fat in 2006. Because we believe that we have to go ahead, changing our way of doing business, but using innovative idea. So after long thought, we conclude that our main topic is quality. And we want to do sustainability through quality. That's why we have put in place, for example, a very innovative way to approach the waste of fats, or when the fat spontaneously degrades. You give me a product, I say to you how many days the product has. And so we are able also to better, and that's part of the organization of the governance, to better manage the storage, the first in, first out approach, last in, first out approach, according to which is we are working with food, so we cannot store food for centuries. On average, our product doesn't reach the 6 months of life. They usually are below. So we have fast turnover, and we have to grant the quality to our consumer. So now we are able, through the evaluation of oxidized cholesterol inside the product with milk, and you know that we have more milk and less cocoa. The average of out-oxidized fat. We have a huge number of studies, and I will conclude in a minute what we are going and we are doing, because we try to manage our waste, which is the ingredient in which Ferrero is dominating the world, hazelnut. Over 5 hazelnut, 3 comes to Ferrero, okay? That's the ratio, worldwide. Wow. So half of the weight of the hazelnut is shell, and 2% of the weight of the hazelnut is cuticola or peel. So we started to work on this, and now we have a wonderful news to share with you. We are able now to extract from the shell of the hazelnut a family of fiber that are adding value to the value chain, and adding value means more people that work, more value for the employees, more value for the consumer, really a sustainable approach. Before we pay in Alba 60,000 euro per year to burn the shell, the fiber that we will produce from shell costs today 60 euro per kilo. Outstanding. Together with my dear friend Laura, we extract from the cuticola several polyphenols for a large use inside the food company, the cosmetic industry, the pet industry, and we decided, together with Laura, that we want to know more, because knowledge, to me, is the best advantage and the best way to produce innovation and reduce the impact. One final word on the people. That's a real problem. There is not so many people. Okay, we try to hire all the students of Laura, but Laura is not producing enough students nowadays. So we need really to enter very briefly. In the next 5 years, we will need 8,000 people more worldwide. The profile of these people is really complex, and we invest a huge amount of money to this. So cooperation with academy, with university, with research center is mandatory. We need people that are able to manage and to understand big data. We need people that are able to manage risk analysis, risk assessment. We need people that are able, with the sweetest of Nutella, with the good of Nutella, to think in a positive way to the future. And moreover, we need people that are able to share and to take part to multi-stakeholder approach to any problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And as amazed as I can be, I would love to keep this conversation going on. I think in the interest of time, we have to move to the next panel. So I granted a little bit more time because it was very interesting. But once again, join me clapping the speakers. This was a very interesting and inspirational panel. And in the interest of time, I guess we have now to move forward with the closing remarks. So I invite now on the stage Professoressa Alessandra Lanzara, Andrea Rossi, and I know that we have Elisa Zambito from Intesa San Paolo, which is joining us remotely. Professor Alessandra Lanzara is Director of Center for Sustainable Innovation at Berkeley University. Andrea Rossi is our CEO and, of the University Campus Bio-Medico in Rome. And Elisa Zambito, which should be with us remotely, is Head of Social Development and University Relations from Intesa San Paolo. Do we have Elisa? It seems we do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elisa, for being with us today. The floor is yours.
Thanks to Professor Pecchia. Good afternoon to all, and thanks for inviting me. Intesa San Paolo Group is known for a strong ESG commitment with a world-leading position for social impact, and the country's leading financial institution. Intesa San Paolo has always given a central role to the social, cultural, and civil growth of the communities in which it operates. These are basic elements well rooted in the bank's history and way of working. For this reason, our group has for a long time put at the center of its vision the fight against poverty and inequality, inclusive education and employability, giving special attention to sustainability and social innovation. We are meeting these goals with concrete projects and system actions involving key stakeholders and other major Italian and international companies, together with institutions, the academic world, and no-profit organizations. We are sure that the development of an economy is strongly linked to the levels of education of both the younger generations and higher education and research. It is why we think it's crucial to support young talent and foster innovation and university research. An example is exactly the support we provide for the university chair of Professor Lanzara, who will take the floor shortly. Innovation and research are a central pillar for the sustainable future of the society. Research is a powerful agent of social and economic transformation, and therefore it's the duty of universities, institutions, and also industry to support and help it, so that it creates value and growth for the community. We are working with more than 60 Italian universities and a number of major international universities through partnerships that include support for professorships, master's degrees, and initiatives to expand research, scholarships to students and PhD students, projects for the inclusion and development of talent, and many other initiatives. In order to make synergies with the academic world, Intesa Sanpaolo has decided to join in a very proactive role to Mission 4, Education and Research of the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, which has been given European funds of almost 12 billion euro. On the basis of calls for proposals issued by the Ministry of University and Research, ministerial guidelines have provided for the establishment of national research centers, extended partnerships, and ecosystem for innovation, intended at increasing basic research systems in order to restart growth and improve the ability to meet the technological and sustainable challenges of the future. Intesa Sanpaolo is the only private financial actor among the founding partners of 4 national research centers and 4 extended partnerships that address issues such as artificial intelligence to cybersecurity, quantum computing, from healthcare to gene therapies, from ESG issues to new forms of sustainable energy. We intend to give a new push to bring private initiative and important public players such as universities, and help to create a culture of know-how and innovation to the benefit of the total economic and social system. In this context, we know that the world is facing an important moment of transition, first of all in the technology and environment, but also in social and new business models. Innovation and research are the heart of this transition. For this reason, we feel a strong commitment to help create new skills for the future. Intesa Sanpaolo's partnership with Campus Bio-Medico is a strong partnership which makes possible our common goals of impact in the country. So on behalf of Intesa Sanpaolo, I would like to thank President Tosti, Director Professor Guglielminelli, and the CEO Andrea Rossi for the passion they have put into the development of this strategic partnership for the new generations and for our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elisa. And we all know the great effort of Intesa Sanpaolo as probably the larger impact bank in Europe and probably in the world. And I am a tangible example, so if anyone in the room want to tange me. But now I leave the floor to Alessandra Lanzara, which is actually also, thanks to this initiative, going to be adjunct professor at our university very soon, which will give us an overview of the biotech pole that she has been leading at Berkeley University and hopefully soon in Rome as well. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So just a small correction, I'm already now an adjunct
You
professor
are already, sorry
starting
about
from
that.
January. So I have to thank obviously Banca Intesa Sanpaolo and Eugenio for making this possible. So I've been in Berkeley for 22 years. I'm a professor in the physics department and associate with many other departments there. And what has attracted me to this campus, we started to discuss almost a year ago with Eugenio. And I soon realized that there was a unique opportunity. This is a young, relatively young Ateneo. It's very vibrant, wants to do new things, and is open to look at what is happening around the world, wants to make innovation, and want to really bring research and innovation to actual industry and impact to society. And that's really resonated well with me, and I thought, okay, this is actually a place where something good can happen, bringing and leveraging what we have in Berkeley and mainly in Silicon Valley. Obviously, my heart has always been in Italy, so that for me is a great occasion to give back to this country and hopefully to start some incredible initiative joint between Silicon Valley and Campus Bio-Medico. So very briefly, I will talk about some initiative I started in Berkeley a few years ago around the theme of sustainability and how we are envisioning to leverage this initiative to start something even bigger and more impactful here. So my field is materials. I do material research. There is no need to say that materials are everywhere. And when we think about sustainability, I actually think that as material scientists, even if we are sometimes taught as to be, at the end, or if you want, at the beginning of the chain and we don't count much, we actually bear a very big responsibility. Because the way we think about materials today is how can I make it more efficient? How can I make it faster, to satisfy the need of the society? And one thing actually we don't think at all about is how can I make it more sustainable? So if we look back in the research and the development of new technology over the past 30 years, which really have changed the way we are living and the standard of life, we have completely forgotten the sustainability aspect. And so what this is causing huge impact on the world. Impact that are, the more time is passing, the more are becoming irreversible. And if we project ourselves in the next decade or so, with the use of material in all sorts of sensors, here I have medical sensor. We heard before this contribution from Ferrero. He said they go around with these drones. Well, the reality is that the sensors are used today a lot also in agriculture. They're implanted in plants. They can tell you when they need more water. So sensors are everywhere, and in general, materials are everywhere. So we have a big responsibility of thinking not only how they can be efficient or high performance, but how we can make them better. And that's led to the foundation of this center, which is the Center for Sustainable Material Innovation. A few years ago, actually, it's the first center in the US that has a focus on sustainability in the way we design new materials. And Enel joined this initiative, is partner of this center, and is another example of how in Italy sometimes we are really looking forward much more than other places. Now there are many industries that are joining this center, but before when I was pitching the importance of changing the way we do material research, actually not many industries were really thinking, oh, you guys do research, it's far away from what we need. So the approach that we had is really looking into the future. It's beginning today, but it's going to impact our life for many, many decades to come. And so it's a little bit borrowing idea from biology. So materials, the way they've been done for decades, either you are lucky and you find them in nature, or you find stuff in nature that you can synthesize and make it better. And usually this process takes really many, many years. Think about silicon. How many decades before we can really leverage the property of silicon? The other way we do materials in the lab is we think about something we need, and then we start to build them atom by atom. So to make this structure here, it actually takes, once you know what you make in the lab, it can take a few days. But before you get to those few days to make it actually takes 10, 20 years. And even after you make it, you have to make it better, so it's a long time. Now, what we borrow it from biology, the fact that biology is very smart. It doesn't act atom by atom. It's building block, such as the DNA, have all encoded the information inside. So they really, in a smart way, know how to assemble and self-disassemble, how to make complex structure, how to make structure that are multifunctional and can change continuously. So today, the material revolution actually is getting there, because we have learned how to make materials that are two-dimensional. And so we can actually take this two-dimensional material of any system. Pretty much today we are able to do out of any system, and we can start to combine them Lego structure. We can actually start even to twist them, and when you twist them, you change the properties of this system. So now we are entering in this type of world, just like we can do with biology. And so the idea is really now to start to play magic and to make this system that are a combination of the two. Now you start to think about the opportunities that are out there, and they are endless. So what are we doing today in the lab? We are starting to make the first sensors that are actually self-assemble and disassemble, are very high performance, and are taking a combination of protein, this sort of DNA origami, and different type of semiconducting material. So this is possible, but how do we get there? We have infinite possibility. Imagine how many ways you can combine this, and how many ways you combine this with biological system. And so the new approach here is also to use artificial intelligence. So with artificial intelligence, we are going through a very large database. We are deciding and inputting the properties we need and the type of performance we need from the material, and then we imply this loop here. And one thing we are doing in the lab, which we are very proud about, because this is the first autonomous lab, is actually, let's see if it works. It's probably not working. But in this video here, what you can see that you automate the entire process. So actually, you barely have to go to the lab, because this robot takes the ingredient, first does the computation, decide what to do, take the ingredient, make the material, then the same arm, bring the material, put it in the furnace, and so on. So now the whole process is automated. Now, now it's starting. But anyway, let me move on. For the interest of time, I'm happy to show the video if you are interested more. So interest of time, what we are thinking to do here? Well, what we want to do now, we want to leverage this ecosystem that we have prepared in Berkeley in terms of sustainability. We want to leverage this very strong partnership that we have there between institutions looking into the biological world with institutions looking in the material world, and create here an hub, and here is a Bio-Medical Technology Research and Innovation Institute that is centered around this theme. So the idea here, and this is our mission, is to pioneer discovery innovation in the benefit of human health and society, while developing the science and technology, this is fundamental, to study and understand the human biology in action, and to unlock the secret of human body and disease. So we want to really bring technology and innovation to solve a big problem and for society. So where are we? We are pretty much divided between, this is all coming into place, hopefully, and we are looking for partners. We are looking for industrial partners. We are looking for all sorts of partners to make this a reality. So where we are today is that from the Berkeley side, there is a very large and big excitement for various institutions and centers. I'll show you in a moment who are the partners who already signed in. And so we are now looking for partners to make this a reality. So the main headquarters will be here at the campus Bio-Medico, and the satellite will be at the University of California, Berkeley, and University of California, San Francisco. UCSF, as probably many of you know, is one of the most important medical centers in the US, and is the only medical center within the University of California system. So these are the partners at the moment within Berkeley. I want to emphasize here the importance of having both partners in terms of research and innovation, as well as partners that allow us for tech transfer. And so these are the various groups that in Berkeley will be part of this. And let me actually just move here. What is I think the pillar of the whole initiative lies on one end, doing the research side, and then the other important part is the tech transfer. So for the research part, the way we see it is that there are 4 fundamental pillars. And actually, to be more precise, there is the biggest pillar that is the material platform that enable us to think about materials for in the biomedical and bioscience field, material that can be applied to improve and design a new type of technology, for example, new monitoring technology. And all of this is fueled by the artificial intelligence platform for research in each one of these fields. And finally, very important is to design this institute thinking in terms of tech transfer. This is something we often do in Silicon Valley. And in fact, if we think about Berkeley, Berkeley is the home of a lot of large companies today, and also in the past. I mean, one that you all know is Apple, that was started there. And the way it works, because there is this very close synergy between the research and innovation, and the possibility actually to translate what you have done in the lab into the research world. So there are various platforms and various ways of doing it. So you have the innovation, the concept here, then you start with the proof of concept. Usually you get some money from the university. These are actually pre-incubator. So you get some money to prove the concept, then you incubate your concept, and then you go in the accelerator that bring you to commercialization. So what we are really hoping here is to implement some system that is very similar here and to leverage this partnership between these two places. And finally, my last thing here is that in order to make this happen, in Berkeley we have a Skydeck. It's actually one of Berkeley is a public university, but Skydeck is one of those incubator accelerator, and we are aimed by pretty much all the private universities in the US, because nobody has been able to build such a incredible accelerator system. It's based obviously to the fact that we are in the Silicon Valley. And so the idea is that with this institute, that we already have partnership with these 3 different accelerator and incubator. And the idea is to also open up collaboration and partnership with industry, with the idea that it's a little bit copying the model we have over there, that the industry have, if you want, will have first access to the technology that are developed. So I leave you with this one, with a dream, and hopefully something that will happen soon. And I know that here we heard a lot of interesting talk today, and many of you, I think, could be actually partner in this initiative. So I hope to continue the discussion more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alessandra. And now I leave the floor to Andrea Rossi to close today's event, together with Professor Maria Chiara Carrozza, which will come back in a second. Andrea, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. I'd like to express my enthusiasm and satisfaction for this initiative, described by Dr. Zambito and Professor Lanzara, which I had the honor to follow since it was just an idea, which today is becoming true. For this reason, I would like to close this session of the meeting with some special thanks. Let me start thanking Intesa Sanpaolo, and in particular Dr. Stefano Lucchini and Dr. Elisa Zambito for the continuous support, friendship, and above all the trust. The full trust they have always shown us in the collaboration with our university. We have established a sustaining number of projects, as the boot camp in Cambridge, scholarship for students, support as our reference bank. Yet, I strongly believe that the best of our collaboration in terms of social impact is in support us in the journey toward internationalization, in particular through the attraction of talents from international university has already happened with the Professor Leandro Pecchia, Professor of Electronic and Information Bioengineering in our engineering faculty. And this is now the case with Professor Alessandra Lanzara, Professor of Physics at the University of California, Berkeley. Alessandra and Leandro share a common vision on how research innovation can enhance sustainable development, and this is so very much aligned with Intesa San Paolo spirit as well as our campus Bio-Medico, and both will do their best to have an impact supporting our community in growing in this area. Again, Intesa San Paolo demonstrated its endeavor as world-leading impact bank in supporting community, as it does every day supporting students and professionals, as well as companies, private citizens, NGOs. A bank which, through the intelligence and its management-inspired vision, plays a fundamental role in society, contributing to its development. Moreover, I would like to thank the National Research Council, the Rome Technopole, the STS Forum, and the Conference of Lazio Rector for this wonderful international event today. I sincerely thank you for the depth of the contents, which is the result of harmonious teamwork, a melody of an orchestra that played in symphonically. I believe that today's initiative provided a significant contribution to steer investment supporting the development of our university in the national and international context, also bridging research and innovation with the leading companies that proactively join this event. In today's event, there are many ingredients of our university strategic recipe: relations with institutions, research, internationalization, relation with enterprises, all with an inclusive, unifying spirit in that system perspective, which I am convinced is always the winning choice for the world of research, business, for the Italian university system, and for the country as a whole. Thank you all, and I take this opportunity to invite everyone to follow us in our celebration of the 30th anniversary, which will still be characterized by many interesting events. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. And I wonder if Maria Chiara wanna give us the final address.
Yes.
Facendo questo.
Only to say thank you to everybody for staying with us. It was, I think, a fruitful afternoon. We learn each other, we share ideas, so I think that we are trying to go in the same direction. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Ciao. Perdonami, non mi hanno messo qui, per cui non sapevo ancora se ero...